heads west as the Gamecocks travel to Western Division foe Mississippi to take on a Rebels team coming off one of their biggest wins in the last decade. Welcome to beautiful Oxford on a Saturday afternoon where the Rebels have a new coach, a new attitude, a new quarterback, and perhaps a new outlook after stunning the Florida Gators in the swamp a week ago. It's the kind of performance Steve Spurrier has been looking for out of his team, and more specifically his offense. Both these teams have identical 3-2 records. Chances are one of them will go bowling at the end of the year after they were each shut out of the postseason a year ago. The loser maybe watching the postseason on TV again, all that making for one of the most important games on the calendar. And with that, we say hello and welcome, Mike Wallace on the return, and he is brought down inside the 25-yard line. The Rebels will take over first down and 10. These two teams have not met since 2004 on homecoming. The Rebels stunning the Gamecocks at Williams-Brice Stadium. That was when Lou Holtz was the head coach. They have not met ever since. Rebels start off I formation. Mike Wallace and Shea Hodge, two of the receivers. Eason is the back in the I. Play action. Snead looking right side, completes the pass and out of bounds at the 45-yard line. First down yardage to Mike Wallace, the senior out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He was third team All-SEC a year ago.
This Ole Miss offense comes out firing against a top-ranked pass defense in the country, and the Gamecocks don't cover it well. A good job of moving the sticks on first down by Ole Miss. And again, if you give Jevan Snead time, he can light you up. He has been known to make some mistakes, however, with those 8 interceptions.
Eason the lone back. Snead out of the gun. Quick drop. Throws right flat. Complete to Shea Hodge. And that'll be another first down. First pass was for 17. That one is for 10. And the Rebels moving the sticks here early.
And Mike, South Carolina really hasn't seen much of a passing offense the last few weeks. They played a lot of running teams the last few weeks with UAB and Wofford. Before that, they had Georgia. Before that, they had Vanderbilt.
Now McCluster is in the game, and we're going to see a lot of this man. Eason, Cordera Eason right now coming in, their leading rusher, averaging 4.5 yards a carry. Just a couple on that play, but Brad, we're going to see 4 different Rebels get the football in the backfield today.
Yeah, you get a lot of different looks out of Ole Miss. You mentioned Eason, you've got Bolden, you've got Cook and Davis, and then, as you mentioned before, the ever-dangerous McCluster, who's going to catch a lot of passes. He's going to run the ball. They're going to run that wild Rebel formation as well.
Brandon Bolden, now another different tailback in the game. McCluster, this is the wild Rebel. Little razzle-dazzle and a lot of room on the left side. It's Mike Wallace. Past the 30, takes a dive and is all the way to the 28 of Carolina.
The misdirection by Ole Miss really tying up South Carolina right now. South Carolina defense is a very aggressive defense, but sometimes they hurt themselves with over-pursuing. You look at it here, the wild Rebel formation, the misdirection. They've got everybody going the other way. Wide open running here for Wallace, and another first down for the Rebels.
Chris Culliver on the tackle after an 18-yard gain. McCluster stays in. He's now behind Jevan Snead. Cordera Eason also in the game. And off up the middle. And another good pickup for the Rebels. Give them 3.
Number 25, Cordera Eason.
That is Cordera Eason before Eric Norwood brings him down.
Yeah, Jasper Brinkley in there as well. He's had kind of a quiet season coming back from that knee injury last year. Like the Gamecocks would like to get him involved early in this defense.
Second down and 7. McCluster at the top of your screen. Snead looking the opposite way. Now flushed out of the pocket. He's going to run to the 20. And then just ball squirts out and goes out of bounds at the 16. That was a live football.
Strange play there. It looked like it just popped out of his hand. He certainly wasn't trying to pass it. He had already crossed the line of scrimmage. And the Rebels catch a break there. They'll bring the ball back, I believe, to where he lost control of it.
Forward and out of bounds. By rule, it comes back to the spot.
So the ball does go back to where he lost the football, but it's still going to be first down yardage for the Rebels. 44, Jason Cook, the fullback, checks in for the Rebels. 1st and 10, the Rebels moving the football with relative ease on this drive.
And Mike, they're doing a good job of really mixing it up. They came out passing, they've mixed it up with some runs and misdirection, and they've really kept the South Carolina defense, which has been good so many games this season for South Carolina, really off balance. You haven't seen this all year. Now they're going to bring it back a little bit.
Okay, now they say the ball should go back to the 20-yard line, and that would make it 2nd down. I think initially they might have had it where the ball went out of bounds on the fumble, but again, you have to put it back to where he actually fumbled the football.
And Mike, those are the kind of bounces that haven't gone South Carolina's way this year. They've had trouble forcing turnovers in a lot of games. They forced a few fumbles in big games like the Georgia game, but were unable to pounce on them. And that's something that's kind of hounded the Gamecock defense the last couple of seasons.
2nd down and 1 yard to go for the Rebels.
So it's 2nd down and a yard now for Ole Miss. And we've already seen the wild Rebel formation a couple of times. We've seen 3 different backs get the football for Ole Miss, and they've been able to throw the football successfully downfield. And the officials are still talking things over. And now they're saying it's 3rd down. Our referee is Mark Curlis. First time we've seen him this year. So that makes it 3rd down and 2. The Rebels need the 18 of Carolina. And here's McCluster lining up in that wild Rebel formation. Mike Wallace, they fake the misdirection. McCluster keeps it himself. McCluster turns the corner and is shoved out of bounds inside the 10. It'll be another 1st down for the Rebels.
This turns out to almost like an option play, which the Gamecocks have seen before, where somebody has to take the quarterback, in this case McCluster, but then someone also has to take the pitch man. Nobody took the quarterback, who in this case is the running back, but it's just assignment football, and Ole Miss executed. The Carolina defense did not.
13-yard game. Give Emmanuel Cook credit for the tackle. Andrew Harris is the receiver at the top of your screen. They go in the eye. Right up the gut, and a gaping hole for Cordera Eason, and a touchdown for the Rebels.
Well, that was an impressive drive by Ole Miss. They made that look easy, and that's deflating to a very good South Carolina defense. Right up the gut, right through the heart of that Gamecock defense. Ole Miss on the board with 6 early.
Joshua Sheen is on the field for the extra point, the junior out of Oklahoma City. A perfect 19 of 19 on extra points this year. Kick is on the way, and it is good. So the Rebels, an impressive 8-play, 76-yard drive to take the lead in this one, 7-0. Ole Miss on top. Gamecocks finding themselves in a hole early on. We'll see what Steve Spurrier's offense can do when we return. Rebels out to a 7-0 lead on an impressive 8-play drive, taking just over 3 minutes off the clock, 3:05 to be exact. Culver is the deep man on the kickoff return. He fields it at the 12. Culver slips. Now spins out of a tackle and finds some room on the left side. Past the 30 and down to the 32-yard line. A 20-yard return for Chris Culver, who has really picked up his play as a return man this year.
He certainly has. He was a good one last year as well for the Gamecocks, and converted wide receiver, playing defense, still returning kicks. Going back to that touchdown drive by Ole Miss, Mike, that was the first touchdown South Carolina has given up in the first quarter all season long. In fact, I believe coming into today's game, South Carolina had only given up 3 points in the first quarter.
There you see your starter at quarterback, Chris Smelley. And in the game in the slot is Kenny McKinley, number 11. Smelley out of the shotgun. Has time, fires, complete to Wesley Saunders. Saunders, the tight end, who's been in the doghouse a little bit here lately for his lack of blocking, but he picks up 6 yards right there.
And Mike, anybody who's followed South Carolina this year knows the tight ends are a big part of this offense. Wesley Saunders, the number 2 tight end. It's his 5th catch of the season. Jared Cook, the starting tight end, very good. He leads the Gamecocks in receptions as well. Look for Smelly or whoever's at quarterback to look for those tight ends early.
Barnes, McKinley, and Cook. Trips to the right-hand side for Carolina. Rebels showing a 4-man front. Here's Mike Davis trying to find some room behind the left side of that line, but he can't do it. Ashley Palmer, the senior out of Compton, California, delivers the blow, a loss of a yard.
Well, Mike Davis should be rested for the Gamecocks. He sat out last week, serving a 1-game suspension against UAB. It's kind of been a struggle to find that go-to back for South Carolina. They haven't really had a breakaway back. Mike Davis has been the starter most of the year, but other younger guys have played well. Eric Baker, Brian Maddox, and then another senior, Bobby Wallace.
One of the best pass rushers in the SEC, Greg Hardy, is in the game now, working the right spot on the defensive line. Here's a 3rd down and 5. Draw play to Davis and a whole lot of room on the left side. He's all the way out to the 48-yard line. A 1st down before Jamarca Sanford trips him up.
Big play for the South Carolina Gamecocks, moving the sticks, didn't want to go 3 and out. And Gamecocks really haven't had a lot of big plays out of their running game this year. The longest run, I believe, was a Mike Davis 50-yard run. As you take a look at it here, it gets a nice hole, bounces it out to the outside. Good blocking downfield by the tight end as well. But other than the 50-yard run by Davis, I believe the other longest run is by Chris Smelly of 24 yards.
That is the bread and butter running play for Steve Spurrier in this offense. The draw play worked to perfection right there. Barnes and McKinley, bottom of your screen. Smelly pump fake. Now he's going to take it and run. And he'll be tripped up after a gain of 3 by Alan Walker, the sophomore out of Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is where the team stayed last night.
Right, about an hour away from Oxford here last night. And Chris Smelly, not known for his running ability, but he's going to have to be a little bit more mobile. Again, that offensive line has struggled for the Gamecocks. They've given up 17 sacks this season. That's last in the SEC. So Chris Smelly is going to have to be a little bit more mobile against this very good defensive line for Ole Miss.
Kenny McKinley stays in the game. Top of your screen, Bobby Wallace, the senior out of Conway, is the man deep in the eye. 2nd down, 7 yards to go. Looked like Smelly calling an audible. Here is Wallace. Wallace along the right side. Wallace shifting and making his way just shy of the 40-yard line. Should be a 1st down before Sanford and Kendrick Lewis bring him down. Nice run there by Bobby Wallace.
And my coach Steve Spurrier has been saying what he wants out of his running backs is finding somebody who can make somebody miss. And that's something South Carolina hasn't done much with its running game. Bobby Wallace does it there, picks up a nice gain and another 1st down.
Kenny McKinley and Mo Brown on the left side. It's Jared Cook flexed out on the right. Davis coming in for Wallace. Smelly out of the shotgun. Smelly looking deep down the left corner. It's Mo Brown and incomplete. Pretty good coverage on the play for Ole Miss. Marche Green had him draped down the field.
And you like to see the Gamecocks at least trying to take a shot downfield. Good coverage down there. Didn't get the safety help until late, so it was one-on-one with Mo Brown, who's one of the faster receivers. Had a big game earlier this year against Georgia, but haven't heard much of him the last couple of games.
Now Joe Hill's in the game for Carolina, joining McKinley and Cook on the left side. Jason Barnes at the bottom of your screen as you take a look at Chris Smelly. 2nd down and 10. Smelly, 7-step drop. Flushed out right. Throws. Caught by Barnes. He just lollipopped that one down the near sideline and somehow got it into Jason Barnes.
Jason Barnes was wide open for a very long time. As you take a look at it here, Smelly gets pretty good protection as he rolls a little bit to his right, finds Barnes downfield right near the sideline, just gets it over the head of the defender there, but Barnes did a good job of just sitting down between a couple of defenders in zone coverage.
They're going to review the play. It's a 15-yard hookup, and they're going to make sure he only needs one foot was in bounds. Jason Barnes, the redshirt freshman out of Charlotte Independence High School. He's got 4 catches coming into this game. Thank you. And we'll see what the review has in store. Mike Morgan and Brad Moore with you here from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. 8:36 remaining in the first quarter of play. The Rebels marching down the field on the opening drive, scoring the first touchdown of the ball game. Now the Gamecocks
on a drive of their own, and a big review right here to make sure if Jason Barnes had a foot in bounds.
And Mike, this could put South Carolina close to the red zone, obviously. And this is where South Carolina has moved the ball well between the 20s. It's when they get down here that the Gamecocks have struggled. As we spoke about earlier, they've kicked 7 field goals in the last 2 games. They haven't been able to punch it in the end zone. Take another look at it. Just don't know if there's going to be enough to overturn it. Looked like he had his feet in. I guess they're also going to look at control. And taking several looks at it. Nice job by Barnes to at least attempt to get his feet in. Only need one.
You know, coming into this week, a third of these reviews have been overturned in the SEC. That's the highest percentage since they started the review system.
On the field is confirmed. First down.
And after further review, it is a first down. Catch is good. Drive continues. Gamecocks trailing it 7-0. First down and 10, Carolina. Mike Davis, the lone back. Smelly feeds him. Room along the right side, but quickly strung out at the 20. A gain of 3 for the senior out of Columbia. Ashley Palmer and Kendrick Lewis on the stop.
Do a good job of pursuing to the football. We've talked about this defensive line for Ole Miss, one of the top defensive lines in the SEC, and that's saying something. South Carolina's defensive line very good as well. But they do a good job of stringing things out for the most part. A short gain on first down.
Second down, 7 yards to go. The red zone has been a bit of an issue for this team this year, settling for far too many field goals for Steve Spurrier's liking. Barnes, Hills, and McKinley in at wideout. Smelly looking to the left. That's Hills. Hills on a little, looked like a little out and up move, but the ball not there. He was guarded by Marshae Green.
And good coverage there by Green, actually. It's the little bump at the line of scrimmage that prevents that from being a perfectly timed pass.
That is Tyrone Nix, the former Gamecock defensive coordinator, now of course on the Ole Miss sideline, leading the Rebels defense. And needless to say, Tyrone Nix, Steve Spurrier, familiar with one another. A lot has been made about that going into this ball game. So on 3rd and 7, McKinley, the man in motion. Smelly out of the shotgun, and a penalty flag drops to the field. The field turf here in Oxford. No grass. This is actually the field turf surface, which you don't see anywhere else in the SEC.
Full snap. Ball start. Number 76. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
That's another false start penalty against the Gamecocks, something that's bothered them all season long. Got to the point after a couple of games this season where Coach Spurrier said he was going to take anybody out who committed a false start penalty.
So a critical penalty now makes it 3rd and 12. Smelly surveys. Barnes and McKinley up top. Cook flexed out to the right. Smelly. Play action. Here comes the blitz, and Smelly is smothered at the 30-yard line. Ole Miss brought the house. A loss of 6 on the play.
Outstanding pressure by the Rebels. They bring it from all sides. Again, very good defensive line. You take a look at it here. They bring some extra as well. Smelly tries to step up, but there's just nowhere to go. Didn't have anybody open and couldn't get rid of it in time. I'm sure Coach Spurrier would like him to at least throw it away. It'll be a longer field goal now for Ryan Succop.
So this will be the 10th play of the drive, and it will be a 48-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Succop, the senior out of Hickory. Hammers it, plenty of distance, and it's good. And Carolina is on the board. 10-play drive resulting in a Gamecock field goal. 6:46 to go, first quarter. The Rebels up 7-3. And Succop, the man who just hit the 48-yard field goal, now with a kickoff here. And that'll send Mike Wallace back to the goal line. Wallace straight up the middle. Pass to 25, stacked up at about the 28-yard line where the Rebels will have it. First down and 10. 27-yard return for Mike Wallace.
Mike again for Ryan Suckup, the South Carolina kicker, with the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week after his 4 field goals last week. Now moves all by himself in second place in school history. Now with 210 career points, he was tied with the great George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner, coming into today's game.
Jevan Snead in the game. They will not go Wild Rebel this time, but he does have McCluster in the game. Snead fires near sideline, complete. That is Shea Hodge, who had a huge game against the Florida Gators. Now the officials talking about it. Looked like there might have been a little bit of a push off there. They did not throw a flag, but now they're saying, well, they're signaling that he's out of bounds, but now they're saying
His foot comes down, and that's close. Shea Hodge, 3 catches, 133 yards, and 86-yard touchdown.
so. Hodge, who got away with a little bit of a push off anyway, ruled out of bounds. 2nd and 10. Again, the ball at the 28. Rebels making it look easy on the first drive. 4-man front. Gamecocks run a stunt. Pass is complete at the 40. That is McCluster. And anytime he gets the ball in his hands, he's a threat to go. Jasper Bringley pummels him to the turf. But Dexter McCluster, who goes all of 5'8", 165 pounds, is one of the most dangerous guys with the football in this league.
He certainly is wide open here. This is an easy pitch and catch and a big play for the Ole Miss Rebels. He can run, he can catch, leads the team in receptions coming in, 2nd in receiving yards. He's also 3rd on the team in rushing yards. A big double threat for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Now a heavy dose of McCluster here early. Shea Hodge and Lionel Bro in the game at receiver for the Rebels. Handoff. That's Eason. And not a whole lot of daylight on the left side. Captain Munnerlyn on the tackle.
So Marvin Sapp in there as well. Got into the backfield. Couldn't make the tackle in the backfield. Sapp's the backup senior linebacker. Take a look at it here. He kind of forces him to go back inside. A little push from behind. Sapp has played very well. In fact, he's tied for 3rd on the team in tackles coming in. South Carolina defense able to string it out after about a 3-yard gain.
2nd down and 7 for Ole Miss. This Rebel offense very unpredictable. It's with the exception of the Wild Rebel formation, so much of what they do is entirely different from what Houston Nutt did at Arkansas. Great lick there as McCluster caught it. Somehow held on after a big-time hit by Darian Stewart.
And Stewart, the big-time hitter, as you said, comes in also tied for 3rd on the team in tackles. You take a look at it here. Great closing speed. Snead throws it on a rope out there, and does a good job of holding on to it. That was a big hit by Darian Stewart. Another great one in the defensive backfield for the South Carolina Gamecocks, along with Emmanuel Cook.
6-yard pickup, which sets up a 3rd and 2, and here is the Wild Rebel. McCluster gets it, has a ton of moves up the middle, and almost broke that one. Chris Culver will get credit for the tackle. He clicked his heels. Other than that, he would have been off to the races.
Ole Miss got some good blocking up front. In fact, it looked like they got away with a hold here on the end. Falls on top of one of the defensive ends there and falls right on top of him. Kind of horse-collared him. Didn't get the call. It's a big gain for Ole Miss, and they're almost in the red zone once again. South Carolina defense looks a little bit confused.
They'll stay with the Wild Rebel. McCluster, high snap, going to take it himself again, and finally the Gamecock defense
Number 22,
stuffing this one near the line of scrimmage, give him a yard. It's the first time today that Ole Miss hasn't gotten a pretty good chunk of yardage on that formation.
South Carolina's defense is only giving up an average of about 221 yards per game, which again is number 1 in the nation coming in. But Ole Miss moving the ball at will on their first 2 possessions here in the first quarter.
Second down, 9 yards to go. Snead completes it to Mike Wallace. And he'll be escorted out of bounds at the 16-yard line. A gain of 6 on the play. Carlos Thomas making sure he doesn't gain any more than that as he pushes him out of bounds.
Wallace ran a very good route there. Carlos Thomas fell down in his coverage, and that freed Mike Wallace up for the easy catch.
So a big-time 3rd down right here, 3rd and 3. Gamecock defense needs a stop. Ole Miss looking for more here. And timeout on the field. The Rebels going to burn a timeout here. 3:21 remaining in the first quarter. A lot of offense thus far. The Rebels leading the Gamecocks 7-3.
Rebel fans, let's make the Bulldogs see red.
Well, Brad, so far the offense is with the edge here. The Rebels, 2 very good-looking drives. We'll see how this one ends. Gamecocks, pretty good drive of their own, having to settle for a long field goal by Suckup. But a lot of people thought this would be a low-scoring defensive affair. Not so far.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Not surprised that Ole Miss can move the football as they have, but how easily they seem to have moved the football in their first 2 possessions so far. Again, this is the biggest test for the South Carolina defense, maybe since the Georgia game. I don't want to say they've had the last few weeks off, but playing UAB and Wofford haven't quite been as tested with the diversity that Ole Miss has, able to throw and run the football. They're doing both equally well right now.
It is a hot day here. The sun is beaming down on this field at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. An afternoon tilt here in Oxford. These 2 teams, again, haven't met since 2004. The Rebels have won the last 5 games in the series. They lead all time 8-5, and in Oxford 3-1. The last time the Gamecocks won in Oxford, Mississippi, you got to go back to 1974. The final score of that game was 10-7. So a 3rd down and 3 for Ole Miss as we wait for the timeout to expire here. 3:21 to go in the first quarter of play. Good crowd on hand. At the beginning of the week, there were about 10,000 tickets that were unsold. Looks like they have sold most of those tickets. I wouldn't call it a complete sellout, but great environment. They've done a lot of work on this stadium over the last few years. And right now the Rebels trying to give the fans something to cheer about. Here's a little pitch play to the right side. That's Bolden, a bruising back, 5'11", 220-pound freshman. Picks up 4 yards. Dustin Lindsey brings him to the turf, but it will be a 1st down.
Very frustrating offense Ole Miss has right here. Again, we talked about all the different weapons. You take a look at it here. The pitch here to Bolden. He's another good one, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. It's just a sprint to the outside, gets a little help with a wide receiver block, and it's another 1st down for Ole Miss.
1st and 10, ball spotted at the 11. Eason is the lone back. He gets it between the tackles. Give him 2. 2nd and 8. Lottie Ajaboy in on the tackle.
Mike, South Carolina's defense obviously has played well all season long, and with the offense sputtering, don't think the Gamecocks can afford to get down by multiple scores. It hasn't been a quick play offense for Coach Steve Spurrier or a big play offense all season long. They can't afford to give up back-to-back touchdowns. They're going to have to make some adjustments defensively, or at least try to hold the Rebels to a field goal attempt here.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's a huge difference between 3 and 7 right now in this spot for the Gamecocks and the Gamecock offense. Snead rolls out right, finds an open man at the 5. Pushed out of bounds. That's the tight end, Gerald Harris. 6'5", 245-pounder out of Terrell, Texas. Give him 5 yards.
Take a look at it here. They don't go to the tight end very often. He only had 2 catches coming in for 20 yards, but closer to the red zone, they go to the big guy. And a short gain, a good sure tackle by the Gamecocks, but big 3rd down here for Ole Miss.
That's 3rd and 4. They can get a 1st down at the 1, and they're going to go back to the Wild Rebel. McCluster out of the shotgun. That's Wallace in motion. Fakes the handoff, takes it himself, and an easy path to the end zone right up the middle as the Rebels get 6 more.
And terrific blocking once again by the Ole Miss Rebels up front. Cliff Matthews gets into the backfield, but they just steer him out of the way. And it's an easy path up the middle, similar to the first drive. The Rebels take it up the gut to get 6.
You know, you just don't expect a guy that's 165 pounds to continually run right up the middle, but that's what he's doing. Joshua Sheen on for another extra point. And he hammers it home. So put 7 more on the board for the Rebels.
Take a look at it again, coming right at you. Nothing fancy, fakes the handoff right up the gut. A couple of arm tackles, and he's in for 6 more. Rebels in control here, again, moving the ball at will, both running and throwing it. And again, the South Carolina defense, which has been so good all season long, really struggling. They really haven't forced any negative plays for Ole Miss so far in this game.
Another long run for the Rebels. An 11-play drive puts Ole Miss on top, 14-3. Remaining in the first quarter of play. The Rebels now leading it 14-3. Culver back to receive at the 5. Across the 20. And it is lassoed down at the 28-yard line. So now the pressure's on this Gamecock offense, Brad. Going to have to play catch up. That is not a position they have performed well in, but they'll get an opportunity here.
Exactly, and they've struggled, as we said. They don't have the big play offense, or at least they haven't showed it yet. As you look at the long scoring drive by Ole Miss, Gamecocks are going to have to find something different to stay in this ballgame. Defense not doing the job right now. The offense was able to move the ball, but once again, they couldn't finish on their first possession.
Chris Smelly back out there for the Gamecocks. Mike Davis is the deep back in the eye. You see Ole Miss already with a good chunk of yardage on the ground, 49 yards. Much of it coming in that wild Rebel formation. Davis is spun down like a top by Tony Fine, and Ashley Palmer no gain on the play.
Ashley Palmer's a good one for this Ole Miss defense. 21 tackles coming in. Led the team last year in tackles, was 9th in the SEC. Tries to strip the ball away here at the end. No pickup on first down for the Gamecocks, 2nd and 10.
Jason Barnes at the top. Smelly going to operate out of the shotgun. Mike Davis also lined up as a receiver. Play clock down to 4. Smelly gets it off, tries to hit McKinley on the slant, but he was in the middle of a couple of blue jerseys, including 24, Cassius Vaughn.
Kenny McKinley, of course, in his first action in quite a long time. Trying to keep a streak going for consecutive games with at least 1 reception. He has a school record 35 straight games with at least 1 catch. Back on the field today for the first time in about a month, but nothing doing so far.
And now the Rebels bring in the pass rushing specialist, Greg Hardy, led the SEC in sacks a year ago. 5 wide. Empty backfield look. Smelly looking right side. Has Cook complete at the 45. Cook keeps his feet. 15-10 and tripped up at the 7-yard line. Jared Cook streaking down the sideline, and a touchdown saving tackle by Jamarcus Sanford. Otherwise, it's 6 points for the Gamecocks.
66-yard pass completion. I believe that's the longest play from scrimmage for the Gamecocks all season long. You take a look at it from the end zone. Cook with that wide receiver speed, kind of a wobbler up there, but he beats the corner. The safety late getting over, and Jared Cook with that good speed, able to get all the way down the sideline. The Gamecocks with a 1st and goal.
That's not only the longest play of this year, that's the longest pass play in a couple of years. The longest pass play last year was just 48 yards. And now a penalty flag on the field. And this is likely on Carolina.
False start, number 60, offense. 5-yard penalty.
False start penalty.
First down.
This seems to happen to this team a lot inside the red zone, Brad.
Yeah, anytime they get in the red zone, the Gamecocks seem to self-destruct. They've had to settle for too many field goals. They can't afford to let this opportunity get by them. They're trailing by 2 scores. Need to put this one in for 6. They have the momentum of the big play by Jared Cook, and then you take a step back with the penalty.
So first and goal from the 12 now. And that will do it for the first quarter of play. Some offensive fireworks here early on. The Rebels finding the end zone twice. The Gamecocks trying to make it for the first time today. Second quarter action coming your way on Sports South. Gamecock football. First down and goal from the 12-yard line. McKinley and Barnes to the left of Smelly. Davis the lone back. Smelly looking left, has Barnes on a slant and overshoots him. Marche Green on the coverage, but I don't know if he expected Barnes to be somewhere different, but that pass was nowhere near.
Yeah, exactly. And the Ole Miss Rebels rushed only 4 initially, came on a delayed blitz up the middle with one of the linebackers. Smelly did have time, but they were looking for that quick slant. Nothing doing for the Gamecocks.
This is such a big drive for this Gamecock offense to not settle for 3 here, to get in the end zone. Last week, a career-high 4 field goals for Ryan Suckup. They want to see the end zone. They won't see it there. A sack by the Rebels. Ole Miss coming on a blitz. That's Ashley Palmer, the senior linebacker out of Compton. A loss of 8 on the play.
Palmer with his first sack of the season. Comes right up the gut, rolls off his blocker. Smelly doesn't see it coming, right in his face, knocks him down. And South Carolina offensive line has had its problems. Tied for last in the SEC coming into today, giving up 17 sacks. There's number 18.
And now you got third and goal from the 20, so Ole Miss can pin their ears back if they want to here. Tyrone Nix, not exactly known as a blitzing coordinator in his days in Columbia, but they brought it there. And Chris Smelly going to burn a timeout here. 14-12 remaining in the first half of play. The Rebels on top 14-3. Each team mounting very successful drives here, but Brad, this is an obvious case where if you're Carolina, you really do not want to settle for the field goal unless you absolutely have to.
Exactly, Mike. And if South Carolina can't get 6 here and has to settle for another field goal, it makes you wonder what are they going to do with their quarterback situation again. Chris Smelly has moved the team down the football twice, but the team hasn't been able to finish. Is that a Chris Smelly problem? Do they need to bring in the more mobile quarterback, Steven Garcia? It really causes some problems for the Gamecocks to figure out what they're going to do the rest of the game if they can't get 6 here.
A timeout here, and the question will be, what does Steve Spurrier dial up? Do you make sure you throw it into the end zone, or do you throw it short and hope that a guy makes a play to make an Ole Miss defender miss? And the question then becomes, well, who is that guy? We've seen Bobby Wallace in the game. He got a carry earlier on. Mike Davis has not been able to get anything going. He's back for the first time in a couple of games, and the offensive line continues to struggle picking up the blitzes.
And this Rebel defense, even with the good defensive line, not exactly known for being stingy. In fact, they're 11th in the SEC in scoring defense, but so far doing a good job.
And how about this 12th in red zone defense, Brad? At 15 out of 16 times, opponents have put points on the board. 9 times they have reached the end zone. And again, the ball was a lot closer to the goal line a few plays ago, but another false start penalty, a sack, and all of a sudden it's backed up all the way to the 20.
South Carolina 10th in the SEC in rushing offense, 91st nationally in rushing offense. So they haven't been able to get the job done on the ground all season long, at least not consistently. They had the big play through the air from Jared Cook, but now it's up to see if the Gamecocks can finish.
The Ole Miss Rebels winless in the SEC last year. That's the first time that's happened to this program since 1982. But Houston Nutt has brought a new attitude into town, and they are playing much better football. Third down and goal from the 20. Spurrier empties the backfield. 5 wide. Ole Miss rushing 4. Smelly sets up, fires, got Barnes, caught it, touchdown. He held on. A helmet popping stick by the Rebel defense. That was Marshae Green popping the helmet off of him. But what a catch by the freshman, Jason Barnes.
Jason Barnes with his first touchdown. Had one taken away last week on a penalty. I believe had an offensive penalty call on him. He's shaken up. They're going to help him off the field, but that's a big 6 for the Gamecocks. You take a look at it here. Smelly with protection. The deep drop. Look at the pop there. Pops the helmet off. Barnes able to hold on. And the Gamecocks back in business.
How about that for your first career touchdown? A terrific catch and a great sign of courage to hold on to that football as Barnes reaches pay dirt. The Gamecocks into the end zone on a 6-play, 71-yard drive.
Just what the Gamecocks needed again is they needed a big play from a receiver. They've been struggling to find that go-to receiver ever since Kenny McKinley went down in the Vanderbilt game. No one has really picked up the slack consistently from game to game. Maybe Barnes can be the guy.
A timeout called by Ole Miss here. Fans reacting to that hit on Jason Barnes. I mean, he took a lick by Marshae Green.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing, though, that can fire up a team, though. You're able to hold on to that. We talked about Kenny McKinley earlier. That's the kind of hits he's taken throughout his career and is able to hold on to the football. A big catch for this young wide receiver core from South Carolina. They needed something big like that to happen after they had the big play, needed a finish. Now they got to see if their defense can come out and stop this Rebel team, which is driven right down the field on its 2 possessions and gotten touchdowns on both drives.
And how about Jason Barnes? Here's a guy that was buried on the depth chart at the beginning of the year. He's moved his way up one game by one game, and now all of a sudden he's in the starting lineup, and he's got his first career touchdown reception. Ryan Suckup will tack on the extra point, and the Rebels now leading by just 4, 14-10, our score. Chris Smelly's 10th touchdown pass of the year, putting the Gamecocks in striking distance as it's now 14-10. Mike Wallace on the return for the Rebels, a 21-yard return. Ole Miss a pretty good field position at the 32-yard line. Well, so much for a defensive showdown, Brad. Both these teams figuring maybe they could slow down the other offenses. Carolina coming in the #1 defense in the nation. Ole Miss's defense, when they needed it most last week at Florida, they stiffened and came up big, but right now it's been an offensive showdown as we still have 14 minutes and change to go here in the first half. Snead out of the shotgun, will draw play up the middle, and this time Carolina's there. Not much doing for Brandon Bolden. Jasper Brinkley was one of the men in on the tackle.
Ole Miss gives you so many different looks. They do a lot of different things. A lot of movement, but the Gamecocks able to eat it up on that play. They're going to need a 3 and out here, though. We talked about neither punter has had to come out for the Gamecocks or Ole Miss today.
6 plays, 71 yards on the scoring drive. Jason Barnes, his first career touchdown reception. McCluster's in the game, but Snead is under center at quarterback. Play action, looking left side, under hot pursuit. That ball's on the ground. It's a loose ball picked up by Carolina. That's Nathan Pepper, and Pepper is into the end zone. Nathan Pepper with his 2nd career touchdown, and the Gamecocks take the lead.
Unbelievable. The last time we saw Nathan Pepper do that, it was against South Carolina State a year ago. He was injured on the play, injured his knee, and had to sit out the rest of the season. He's okay on this one, probably needs a little oxygen. He's going to head back to the sideline. The Gamecocks with their first lead of the day.
Attempting the extra point, number 14.
Nothing better than seeing a 292-pound defensive lineman run down the field.
Nathan Pepper out of Greenville, South Carolina. Been kind of quiet this year. 17 tackles, 1 sack coming into this game, but nothing quiet about that play. And the big guy takes it to the house
for his second career touchdown.
Well, Gamecock fans were just hoping for a stop, but they'll take the 6 as well.
And they're reviewing something. I think they're going to review whether or not his arm was in motion. But it looked like a clear fumble from here.
See if we can take a look at it here. Snead fakes the handoff. The pressure comes from the other side as he tries to step up in the pocket. Now keep an eye on the football and where his arm is going. There's the chip up, and he's trying to throw it. That looks like the arm is still going backwards.
And the knee is up. The knee is not on the ground. That's the other part of that play. And that's Clifton Gathers, incidentally, jarring the ball loose. So give him credit for the forced fumble, and give Nathan Pepper credit. Heads up play, pick it up. Gamecocks have had trouble falling on fumbles.
Yeah.
This time Pepper picks it up and finds the end zone.
A huge play for the Gamecocks, obviously, if it sticks. Defense would have to go right out there, but maybe with a little extra confidence after forcing the turnover, something the Gamecocks have struggled to do so far this season. Gamecocks near the bottom in the SEC in turnover margin.
Yeah, they're waiting for the review. There's Pepper. He's gassed.
Yeah, he's appreciating the extra time right now.
It's like, go review it as long as you want, because after it's done, I got to get back out there.
At least on the first look, I didn't see anything that would overturn it. We'll see how many times they look at it.
I thought what was closer than whether or not it was a fumble was whether or not his knee hit the turf. But from our vantage point, from that replay, as we take another look here, I think it's out before the knee hits.
Yeah, that's at full speed. That's a little bit slowed down. It's Nathan Pepper's not actually running full speed there, but
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And there it is. So Nathan Pepper will get the official yardage for you. Looked like about 27 yards on the return. And Ryan Suckup on for the extra point. They're still showing the replay on that big, gigantic replay screen that they have in the end zone that Ryan Suckup is kicking to right now. And Suckup hammers another one home. Carolina with its first lead of the ball game, 17-14 on a defensive touchdown. Nathan Pepper taking it to the end zone for his second career touchdown.
The Rebel Shop has locations throughout the stadium and the main store located on the northwest side of Vaughn Hemingway Stadium.
Wallace, number 2 for the Rebels, on the return, back to about the 14. On the tackle for South Carolina, number 41, Jordan Lindsay. First and 10 from the 14.
Well, Brad, we expected a lot of different possibilities in this game, but already 31 points on the board. I don't know if we expected that.
No, not exactly with this defense for South Carolina. We knew Ole Miss could move the football, but South Carolina's defense providing a spark now. And Ole Miss back to the run here. They've ran the ball effectively so far. A big stop there for South Carolina on first down.
That was Brandon Bolden, the freshman out of Baton Rouge, on the carry.
By number 91,
Emmanuel Cook and Alani Ajiboye on the stop. Emmanuel Cook, a tackling machine this year. 37 tackles coming into this game.
Yeah, 33 solo. He can do it on his own.
Shea Hodge had the big game a week ago for the Rebels at receiver. He's at the top. Instead, Snead going right side.
And a pickup of about 6 yards. That one's caught by Lionel Breaux.
Snead does a good job of surveying the field. Was getting some pressure. Looked like he felt the pressure. Didn't see it coming on the outside from Eric Norwood. Able to pick up a nice play on second down. Brings up 3rd and short.
Gain to the 21-yard line. 3rd and 3.
3rd and a long 3. Rebels 4 wide. Snead will work out of the shotgun. Gamecocks bringing the blitz. Here it comes. Quick pass out to the 20, and Bolden pushed out of bounds, well shy of the first down.
34, Brandon Bolden.
I say well shy.
He's pushed out
A little bit closer than I originally thought, but I don't think he's got it. Emmanuel Cook, who else, in on another tackle. 2-yard gain, but certainly Houston not going to go for it here. They'll bring on the punter Rob Park, and the Rebels will punt it away. And we were starting to wonder if we'd see a punt today.
Yeah, I thought might have both punters take the day off. Gamecocks had a game earlier this year where Spencer Lanning didn't see the field, but Ole Miss comes out for the first time.
Captain Munnerlyn is back to return. He is at the 40. Park, plenty of time. A wobbler. Munnerlyn calling for the fair catch at the 37-yard line. Right now, the Gamecocks not only winning on the scoreboard, but winning the battle of field position as well. Good spot to start another drive, as Carolina will try to add to a 3-point lead with 11:15 remaining in the first half of play.
Can't understate that, Mike. The field position for South Carolina, again, with an offense that has been struggling. You can open up the playbook a little bit more when you're closer to midfield. You don't have to be as conservative. It'll be interesting to see what the Gamecocks go with here, playing with the lead for the first time. They've moved the ball well. Got a touchdown in the last possession, field goal on the first possession.
And there was a lot of talk about Chris Smelley going into this week. So far, Smelley has played pretty well. The big touchdown pass from 20 yards out to Jason Barnes has looked sharp on a couple of other passes, and perhaps bigger than all that, he has avoided the big mistake, and that has been something that has kind of stymied Smelley over his career, is forcing it, staring down receivers, throwing into coverage. But so far today, 4 of 8, 107 yards, and a touchdown pass.
All right, the turnovers of what hurt Chris Smelley before, as you said, 6 touchdowns this year, 6 interceptions as well. He's had a good history of success, though. Last year, the Gamecocks played musical quarterbacks. Chris Smelley got a couple of big wins for South Carolina last year, including the win. He was the starting quarterback, I believe, in the Kentucky game last year, with South Carolina won back when Kentucky was ranked in the top 10. He was not the starter in the second half of the season when the Gamecocks really struggled and lost 5 straight.
One other note on that fumble return for a touchdown. Keep in mind, Carolina came into this game dead last in the SEC in turnover margin, -7. In fact, it's really been an issue dating back to the Vanderbilt loss a year ago. So much has been made about this defense and how good they are statistically, but at some point Steve Spurrier has said they've got to start getting some takeaways. Well, they got one there.
Right, and Ellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, had said his guys hit guys pretty hard. They just got to hit them a little bit harder and jar the ball loose, and then, of course, fall on it. That time they were able not to fall on it, but pick it up and get 6.
So the Gamecock offense back out onto the field. 1st and 10 from the 37. Bobby Wallace is back in the game. Senior out of Conway. Had a carry earlier in this ball game. Smelley will operate the controls under center this time out. Wallace 6 yards behind him, and he'll get it. Trying to run off left tackle. Nice cut back there. 40. Spin move at the 45, and a good-looking run by Bobby Wallace. A pickup of 10 yards right near the marker.
And he gets good blocking, of course, by the offensive line, but also by the tight end, Jared Cook. That's been a sore spot for this offense, is to whether the tight ends can hold their blocks.
To the 48-yard line, 1st and 10 for South Carolina.
Take another look at it here. Nothing fancy. Just a straight handoff. You see the block there by Jared Cook that frees him up. He's not touched till he gets 8 yards downfield.
Deion LaCorn in the game. He's the man in motion now. Smelley out of the gun. He's in trouble and basically throws that one away.
Bobby Wallace was in the vicinity, so no intentional grounding there.
Jamarcus Sanford coming in. Looked like he might have come in free all over Chris Smelley. And Brad, just as you explained, Bobby Wallace was in the vicinity, so no intentional grounding.
The fans wanted it, but they did say he was kind of mixed up there with the offensive lineman, and a good job by Smelly just to get rid of it.
So 2nd down and 10. Davis and DeMarco now in the game, and a staggered ILM. And Smelly unable to get the play off, and there goes the penalty flag.
Well, they're going to say South Carolina got the timeout just before.
Well, they threw a flag on the field, but they're going to pick it up. So the Gamecocks will have it after the timeout, 2nd down and 10. Alongside Brad Muller, Mike Morgan with you. 10:41 remaining in the first half. It's been a high-scoring first half, particularly for the Gamecocks. 17 points on the board for Carolina, and now leading the Rebels 17-14. Ole Miss was out to a 14-3 lead. A touchdown pass from Chris Smelly to Jason Barnes from 20 yards out, and then a fumble recovery for a touchdown by Nathan Pepper, making it a 3-point lead for the Gamecocks. 2nd and 10. Mo Brown checks in for the Gamecock receiving corps. 4 men in the pattern. Smelly in trouble. Going to try to dump it down. He does. To the back and down to the 44-yard line of Ole Miss is Mike Davis.
Gamecocks looked like they had a couple of receivers in the same spot, and Smelly able to find it. Now, if you're Ole Miss on defense, I think you've got to continue to keep pressure on Chris Smelly. They've been rushing 4, blitzing 1 occasionally, but with the immobility of Smelly, you got to keep bringing pressure after him, force him into a mistake. So far, they haven't been able to do that, and South Carolina has moved the ball on each of its possessions.
That's an 8-yard gain. It sets up a 3rd down and 2. Davis behind DeMarco. With Corn in motion. Smelly, play action. Looking down for this. Cook wide open. And he overthrew him. He had Cook wide open, heading toward the sideline. How many times have we said this? He overthrows the 6'5" Jared Cook.
Yeah, and that one, I think Cook may have hurt himself a little bit as well, as he didn't time his jump exactly very well. May have jumped a little bit too early. You take a look at it here. New wrinkles. You see Smelly rolling to his right. We talked about him not being very mobile. Throws off his back foot, however. And Cook may have misjudged that. It was a little bit high, but I think he also jumped a little early.
So now the first punt for Spencer Lanning. Green back to return for the Rebels. Wobble off the side of his foot and out of bounds. Not one of the better efforts for Spencer Lanning. A 20-yard punt. And the Rebels will have it in good field position. 9:41 remaining. First half of play. Gamecocks leading it 17-14. Rebels first play of this drive here with 9:41 remaining in the first half. Eason, the lone back behind Snead. He'll get it. Eason immediately popped and dropped right near the line of scrimmage. Jasper Brinkley getting in there in a hurry.
Jasper Brinkley, the senior from Thompson, Georgia, was an All-American candidate last year before the injury, the knee injury against LSU. Come back this year, has had some quiet games, had the big game against Georgia. Looks to be having a big afternoon here as well.
No gain, 2nd and 10 for Ole Miss from the 35.
Back to the Wild Rebel. McCluster will get the snap. He'll take it himself. And not this time. Jasper Brinkley with a textbook tackle, wraps up the legs, and McCluster is dropped right near the line of scrimmage. No gain.
It seems like the bigger the game, the bigger the plays by Jasper Brinkley. You take a look at it here. He's actually got a couple of lead blockers, but they can't get a hold of Jasper Brinkley. Drives him backwards for no gain.
So 3rd down and 10. The Gamecock defense stiffening here on the last couple of drives. Wallace and Hodge, the wideouts. And McCluster also in at receiver for the Rebels. Gamecocks coming on a stunt. All kinds of time for Snead. Pass is complete at the 50. Hodge still on the go. And down near the 41-yard line. Chris Culver brings them down, but not after, or not before, rather, a big gain. 25 yards for the Rebels.
Well, Jevin Snead gets all kinds of time. Delivers a laser beam here. You take a look at it. Steps up in the pocket. Nobody there. A couple of Gamecock defenders fall down, and then it's just a foot race. And Ole Miss in Gamecock territory again.
Rebels quickly to the line of scrimmage. Snead hands it off to Eason. Not much doing up the middle.
Number 25, Cordero Eason with the football.
Second down and 8. Well, this drive all started after an 8-yard punt officially. 8-yard punt by Spencer Lanning, putting the Rebels in the driver's seat. And now Ole Miss trying to get this drive going. A key 3rd down and 10 pass play kept the drive alive. Snead thus far 9 of 10, 109 yards. Can't get much more efficient than that. Gamecocks bringing the blitz. Snead lofting it up there, has a man and just overthrew him. Otherwise that was going to be trouble. That was intended for Andrew Harris, a freshman out of St. Petersburg, Florida.
The Gamecocks looked confused on defense. Looked like Darian Stewart and Stoney Woodson crashed into each other, a little unsure of the coverage, and he was wide open as the two defenders smacked into each other, but the pass just a little bit off as you take a look at it here. Off the back foot, there's the two defenders, and about 2 yards overthrown. Otherwise, that's 6 points on the board for Ole Miss.
3rd down and 7. Hodge and McCluster to the left. Mike Wallace on the bottom of the screen. And a whistle and a penalty flag. Mississippi, incidentally, 5 out of 6 so far today on 3rd down.
Before the snap, delay of game, number 4, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So if they're going to make it 6 out of 7, they're going to have to get 12 yards here.
Looked like Jevin Snead was trying to get the Gamecocks to jump a little bit. He's been altering the snap count.
Penalties thus far, not too many on either side. A well-played game overall, particularly for the offenses. And now they're put 1 extra second on the game clock. They do. That makes it 7 minutes, 12 seconds. 3rd down conversions. Ole Miss has been good. Snead going to throw into coverage, and he caught it. Wow, McCluster caught it and hung on for the 1st down. And he had to deliver that ball on a rope. Jevin Snead did. Really impressive play right here.
And look at this, the Gamecocks with the delayed corner blitz. Captain Munnerlyn coming in. Cliff Matthews, the defensive end, is back in coverage. You see the hit there, able to hold on. We've seen receivers on both sides take big hits, able to hold on.
Well, usually when you throw across your body like that toward the middle of the field, that is bad news, but they get away with it as McCluster takes it on the wild Rebel formation. A couple of yards and some extra activity after the play.
Well, this game is turning into a street fight now. Lots of pops on both sides of the ball. Not really a huge rivalry since these teams don't see each other every year. The alternating years of getting a chance for these two teams to see each other haven't played in a couple of years, but they're going at it like a couple of old rivals.
Darian Stewart involved in that last play. Brandon Bolden in the game now for Ole Miss. Carlos Thomas also in the game for Carolina. And now another whistle, a timeout called by Ole Miss. 6:06 to go. Gamecocks leading 17-14. Ole Miss with a 2nd down and 8. Bolden is behind Jevin Sneed. Gamecocks sending 5. Sneed has all day. Throws back the opposite way. And a wide open Brandon Bolden, who came out of the backfield, will catch it for the touchdown. Looked like a little wheel route. And Ole Miss worked it to perfection.
It is a beautifully designed play by the Rebels. They fake to the left to begin with, roll out to the right. You've got 2 receivers in the pattern on the right side, and then the delay. Bolden wide open down the far sideline for 6.
24 yards on the hookup, and Ole Miss is back on top. Sheen on for the extra point. Put it on the board. Ole Miss now leading it 21-17. As we go to break, we'll take another look. The Ole Miss touchdown from Jevin Sneed. Rebels will kick it off. Justin Sparks is their kickoff specialist. And a pretty good leg. It sends Culver back to the end zone. He's going to take it out. Culver, 20. And pushed out of bounds past the 25. And about the 26-yard line. That is Ellis Johnson, the man in the middle, and he's got the #1 ranked defense in America coming into this game. But right now his defense being tested by this Ole Miss offense, which is dynamic to say the least. The scoring drive for the Rebels, 6 plays. That's not the right one. We'll give you the right one in a second. 8 plays, 65 yards, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. A 24-yard touchdown grab by Brandon Bolden. Mike Davis, the lone back, he's out on a pass route here. Smelly going deep, and Mo Brown turns back on the ball and makes a great catch. Guarded by Vaughn, but Mo Brown twisting his body and making a terrific play on the pass thrown by Smelly.
Mo Brown second on the Gamecocks in receptions, coming in, leading the Gamecocks in receiving yards. Take a look at it here. Makes the adjustment on the pass. Smelly trying to buy some time when he rolls out. And Brown makes a great adjustment, comes back for the football. Gamecock wide receivers have made a couple of plays for their quarterbacks today. That's got to give Chris Smelly a little confidence.
Mo Brown had that terrific game against Georgia. Caught 7 passes, 130 yards. He's kind of disappeared since then. They're waiting to see Mo Brown be more active again. Empty backfield, 5 wides. Here's Mo Brown on the receiver screen. He's got some room. 25, spins out of a tackle and gets all the way to the 20-yard line of Ole Miss, where Sanford brings him down. But Mo Brown is heating up. 2 big pass receptions by Mo Brown. That one going for 20.
And give his fellow receiving mates some credit there for some downfield blocks. This is a play South Carolina likes to run, the little receiver screen, usually with one other receiver out there. This time they had 2 receivers out there specifically to block. As you take a look at it here, you got Mike Davis, and I believe Kenny McKinley got the block initially. That frees up Mo Brown for big yardage.
Mo Brown with 53 yards in 2 consecutive receptions. Smelly's starting to get into a rhythm here. 7 out of 13 now for the day. Smelly on the play action, rolling out, looking for Freddie Brown. Instead will go to Davis, and he's double covered. They were trying to get Freddie Brown involved there over the middle, but Freddie Brown was covered as well. Give the Ole Miss secondary credit on that play.
Yeah, exactly. Freddie Brown, the slant specialist for South Carolina. That's what they were running over the middle, but good coverage. Smelly didn't force it in there. Instead just threw it out of bounds and lives to play another day. Smelly showing he's a little more mobile today, rolling out of the pocket. We haven't seen a lot of these designed rollouts for Smelly most of the year, but it's buying himself a little more time.
Yeah, it was a good-looking play in terms of just everybody doing what they're supposed to do. Sometimes the defense just has it covered. 2nd down and 10. Smelly from the gun. Smelly intended for Wesley Saunders, who caught a pass earlier, but Alan Walker reading that one all the way.
Wesley Saunders, I'm not sure if that ball was actually tipped away or if Saunders turned his head upfield too quickly. Either way, it drops incomplete, and it's another big third down for South Carolina. As you take a look at it, Smelly over the top, and I think Saunders should have caught that one. They've turned his head upfield a little too quick.
And this sets up a 3rd and 10. Gamecocks 3 out of 5 on third down conversions. Mo Brown back in the game. He's at the top. And another timeout called with the play clock ticking down. Chris Smelly says, let's think about this. Let's talk it over. And he'll do so with Steve Spurrier. 4:46 to go in the first half. The Gamecocks trailing 21-17. It's been a high-scoring first half, 21-17 already, and the Gamecocks on another drive here, certainly well within Ryan Succop field goal range, even if you can't get the first down here. But not to be the least bit greedy, you'd like to pick up 10 yards and keep this thing going. That is Tracy Rocker, and if you've been following SEC football, you know the name Tracy Rocker, an All-American at Auburn, first-round draft pick, had a terrific career for the Auburn Tigers. He's been coaching for a while now, and he's done a fine job helping out this staff for Houston Nutt. 3rd down and 10. DeMarco in motion. Smelly looking, has nobody, somehow gets out of trouble and does a terrific job just to stay in field goal range, getting to the 20. Ashley Palmer getting a big paw on the legs of Chris Smelly, but that could have been disastrous.
Exactly, Mike, and give Ole Miss credit once again for putting a lot of pressure on Chris Smelly, but give him a lot of credit for avoiding the big sack. That's probably the best run for no gain you'll see out of Chris Smelly. Take a look at here, gets out of 2 tackles, there's a 3rd, and able to fall ahead right about at the line of scrimmage.
Ryan Succop is 11 out of 13 on the year. This is from 38. He's got the distance, but he missed it wide right. Wide right, a rare miss inside of 40 yards for Ryan Succop. 4 minutes left to go in the first half of play. The Rebels holding on to a 4-point lead. Rebel football, 1st down and 10. McCluster in the game. He's going to get it off left tackle and picks up about 7 yards.
Number 22,
Dexter McCluster, a junior out of Largo, Florida, leading the team in receptions coming in, 2nd in yardage. He can run the ball, had 175 yards rushing coming in. He was averaging 7 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's a little bit do everything and picks up a nice gain on 1st down thanks to a great block from his fullback, Jason Cook, the senior from Sewanee, Georgia.
Marvin Sapp checks in defensively to give Jasper Brinkley a breather here as the pass is caught at the 30 by Mike Wallace. And he's immediately wrestled down by Stoney Woodson. Woodson, a senior out of Tampa, Florida. 6 career interceptions for Stoney Woodson.
Gamecocks giving up a little bit of a cushion there. A little bit surprised when it was 2nd and short. They give a big cushion. He's able to pick up the 1st down.
Ole Miss taking its time here. Their perfect world would be a long, time-consuming drive, put some points on the board, and not give it back to Carolina. Gamecocks, Norwood coming free and sacks Jevin Sneed at the 25 like a runaway locomotive. Eric Norwood racing in. Sneed had no chance.
And Norwood picks up his 2nd sack, gives him 15 for his career All-SEC. Last year was Norwood. You take a look at it here. Nobody touched him. It's never going to get easier for Eric Norwood. He's a great player on his own, but you can't help him like that.
And 17.
A loss of 7 on the play. 2nd down and 17. Here's Eason. Picks up 2-3 yards.
Darian Eason, the ball carrier.
Here's Darian Stewart filling in. These defensive backs for South Carolina, Darian Stewart, who plays the spur position, also Emmanuel Cook, the strong safety, do a great job of stuffing the run. They're two of the top tacklers for the Gamecocks.
Now you've got a 3rd down and 13. Ole Miss awfully good on 3rd down, 6 out of 7. Snead out of the gun. Gamecocks rushing 4, and the pass is dropped by Mike Wallace. And the Rebels will punt it away with 1:39 to go. If you're Carolina, you've got a chance to do some damage here on what could be the final drive of the game.
And again, South Carolina has moved the football well on almost every possession. They've come up short once, of course, on the missed field goal. They've had to punt once as well.
Captain Munnerlyn back to receive the Robb Park punt. Key thing to keep in mind here, Gamecocks have no timeouts left. Maybe you go for the block here. Gamecocks they got the punt rush on, but can't get a whole lot of rush going. And Munnerlyn's going to have to back up all the way to the 21. Penalty flag on the play. Munnerlyn going the wrong way. Now puts it in forward and gets out to the 27-yard line, but we'll find out what that penalty flag's all about.
A lot of pushing and shoving away from the football. Again, these two going at it like longtime rivals.
The flag is at the 40-yard line.
During the kick, holding, number 5, receiving team. The penalty is 10 yards from the end of the kick, 1st down.
That was a 58-yard punt. The holding penalty on Thomas. So all of a sudden now, field position goes from pretty good to awful as they mark it off all the way to the 11-yard line.
Yeah, and Mike, now you have to get real conservative in your play calling here, maybe to try to get out of the first half only trailing by 4.
Again, no timeouts for Carolina. The Rebels don't have any timeouts either. Not very often you see 6 timeouts called in a first half of a football game, but that's been the case thus far today. And again, can't stress this enough. This is such a huge game for both of these teams. Both teams shut out of the postseason last year, and a win today would put somebody in very good position. Bobby Wallace is in the backfield, gets the carry. Wallace is stacked up at around the 13. Kendrick Lewis in on the stop.
And it looks like both teams are going to be content maybe just to run out this half. As you said, can't stop the clock either way. Wallace didn't really try to make anyone miss there, just ran up the back of one of his blockers, keeping both arms around the football.
3 yards by Wallace there makes it 2nd and 7. Davis coming back in. Spurrier going with a lot of veterans today. Davis gets it, spin move across the 15 and down to 17. Greg Hardy, the second team All-American from a year ago, with a tackle there. He's actually still been trying to recover from an injury in the offseason. They've been working him back in. He's actually listed second team, but we'll see him out there a lot, number 86.
And that's what's been amazing about this Ole Miss team. They've had a chance to win every game, even with some bang-ups on their defensive line.
It's 3rd down and 3 here. The play clock is at 12. Game clock 19. 7-second differential. Neither team can stop the clock as Davis is cut down by Greg Hardy. And that will likely be the final play of the half. And it will indeed be the last play of half number 1. And a very entertaining half, particularly if you like offense. A number of good drives. Gamecocks putting a couple of touchdowns on the board. Ole Miss finding the end zone 3 times. Our score at the half, Ole Miss 21, Carolina 17.
Well, the Rebels leading the Gamecocks 21-17 here at the half. The highlight of the game, unquestionably, the one you just saw there, Jason Barnes, his first career touchdown, taking a hit 20 yards out, but holding on to the football. And Brad, I guess the question is, can both these teams keep it up offensively?
Yeah, breakneck pace for both teams. A little surprised how well Ole Miss has moved the football, especially in the first quarter. They ran the ball well, they passed the ball well, but South Carolina's answered. They're very much in the football game. More importantly, they've had some wide receivers step up and make some big plays.
Take a look at some of the statistics, and again, offense, the name of the game.
Oh, exactly. This is probably the most yards the Gamecocks have given up all season long in the first half. 232 total yards. Again, pretty balanced for Ole Miss. They've done it on the ground and through the air. South Carolina can't get the running game going yet, but they're still very much in the ball game.
Should be a very exciting second half. Stick around as we continue the Gamecocks and the Rebels from Oxford, Mississippi. Second half action getting underway here from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford. Again, the Rebels leading at 21-17. Culver going to take the kickoff from the end zone. Culver running sideways and goes down with a penalty flag as well. And then the ball pops out. The ball popping out toward the end of the play, a scrum, and now a late penalty flag throw. So we've got what probably amounts to an illegal block and then a personal foul here. Meanwhile, the Gamecocks do recover the Culver fumble, and it's a good thing. That could have been disastrous. And the official's going to have to sort this one out. Steve Spurrier going to try to find the right plays to dial up here, and a key drive to get this second half started on a high note. Gamecocks already had to come from behind 2 scores earlier in the game before taking the lead, but you'd like to avoid that if at all possible. You saw the halftime stats. A lot of offense in this game. 232 yards on 37 plays for the Rebels, and 28 plays for 197 for the Gamecocks, which is a total that if you're Steve Spurrier, you're more than happy with, considering the way this offense has sputtered for most of the year.
Mike was just saying before that play on the kickoff, we'll check the penalty first.
Illegal block in the back, number 16, receiving team. That penalty is enforced after this is to the goal from the end of the run, the spot of the fumble. After the play, personal foul, number 5, kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That is Terrell Jackson, and he's a senior. Ought to know better out of Puckett, Mississippi. That's a big penalty. The Gamecocks would have had lousy field position, but the penalty will move it up 15 yards from the 5. So now all of a sudden you get it at the 20. It's just like a touchback, but it could have been a very, very bad spot for this Gamecock offense. So Carolina will have decent field position. They actually put the ball just past the 20-yard line near the 21 as we take another look at what happened at the end of this play. And you see the ball coming out there. Sinclair, it looks like, recovered the fumble. Did not see the personal foul. Penalty flag was thrown late. Well, now that we got that squared away, Gamecocks will try to move the football. There's McKinley, caught at the 25 and out to the 35-yard line before being brought down by Tony Fine. Kenny McKinley with his first catch since the Vanderbilt game.
That keeps the streak alive. The Kenny McKinley into the ball game. 36 straight games with at least one catch.
36 consecutive games now with a reception for Kenny McKinley. First down and 10 from the 35. Davis and DeMarco in the backfield. There's Jason Barnes with another catch. Barnes across the 40 and out of bounds at the 43, a gain of 7.
Barnes, of course, had the big touchdown in the first half. Got knocked goofy, but he's back in there.
Ball will be placed at the 43-yard line. Second and about 2.
You see Kenny McKinley. There was all kinds of questions. Would he be able to go? How effective would he be? The hamstring 80-90%. But so far He's been out there for a number of plays and makes his first catch in nearly a month. Mike Davis burrowing his way for a couple. Right near the first down marker. It'll depend on the spot. Ted Laurent on the stop for the Rebels, and it will be a first down.
And Mike, this is a key drive for the Gamecocks. As you said, they were able to answer a lot of drives in the first half, but need to get off to a good start here in the second half, especially after starting deep in their own end.
Barnes and McKinley in the game on first down. Smelly hands it off to Davis, who gets a yard. Ashley Palmer trips him up.
On the tackle for the Rebels, number 11, Ashley Palmer.
Mike Davis has had a tough time getting going. In fact, all the Gamecock running backs have struggled for positive yards here. Today, Bobby Wallace had a decent first half, 3 carries, 21 yards, but Mike Davis held to under 3 yards a carry in the first half and off to a slow start here in the second half.
Rushing yards thus far today, Mississippi. Most of those coming in the first quarter, and most of them on the Wild Rebel formation. Smelly flushed out, looking downfield, nobody's open, and wisely tucks it and runs. Tony Fine was there to escort him out of bounds. A little pickup there of 2 yards. So it'll be second down and 8 for this Gamecock offense, which has played pretty well today. Keep in mind, a missed field goal and another scoring opportunity. Of course, one of the touchdowns was defensive. Nathan Pepper on a fumble recovery, but overall, Carolina has moved the ball well today. McKinley and Barnes to the left. Mo Brown and Jared Cook is on the right side. That's McKinley in motion. This is third down and 5. 3rd and 5 for Smelly and company, and the whistles will blow it dead. Could be a delay of game.
And Mike, once again.
Live game. Number 4, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Once again, I think the crowd had a little something to do with that, as Chris Smelly couldn't hear the coaches waving their arms, yelling at him, trying to tell him to get the play off, and he was about 2 seconds late.
On the 45, 3rd down and 10 yards to go.
So 3rd down and 10 now. Normally a passing situation, although they got a draw to work pretty well in the first quarter on 3rd and long. Smelly, 7-step drop, fires far sideline. Did Barnes catch that? He did, but it was out of bounds. Still a good grab by Jason Barnes, who all of a sudden is becoming the go-to target for Chris Smelly today. Cassius Vaughn was on the coverage.
Take another look at it. Barnes again has been a favorite target today, and one-handed, and don't know if he got his foot in there. He had control. That's a close one there. Good concentration to go out and get that with one hand.
That would be worthy of a review by the SEC review officials. Again, you don't have to challenge to have them review a play. And now they are going to whistle, and
Play is under further review.
they must have heard me. And that's what you should do on a play like that. Certainly was close enough to take another look at it. He definitely hauled it in on a terrific catch. The question is, did he have possession of the football when that, I believe it was the right foot down. We'll see if we can get another look here as they'll take another look at it.
Take a peek at it here. Again, Barnes has been busy today. He made the spectacular catch for the touchdown, and I don't know if we'll be able to tell if he keeps that foot in and if he has control. There's the one arm. He's still sort of juggling. I don't know if they're going to be able to overturn that.
Look at the left foot.
Yep.
He's got it. Is that left foot in? Boy, it doesn't get any closer than that, does it?
If you freeze it there, that looks like a catch.
It does. I see a millimeter of green between the big toe and the sideline.
Ah, you got good eyes.
Well, thank you very much. It's the LASIK eye surgery. I think if they really take the time to slow that down and take a look at a great view by our crew and truck on that particular play, if you look at that particular one in the same slow frame, it looked like a catch. But again, it's got to be conclusive in order to overrule the play call on the field.
And they're going to take as many looks as they can. South Carolina trying to keep a drive going. And Ole Miss obviously would like to get it back as they move the ball very well against the South Carolina defense in the first half.
That is a Houston Nutt that you're looking at, who had a great tenure, 10 years at Arkansas, 2 Western Division titles, 2 SEC Coach of the Year awards. He averaged over 7 wins a year, but it just wasn't enough for some, and he found his way here in Oxford, and I think they've got themselves a good one.
Certainly, as you said, 10 years at Arkansas, 8 bowl berths. He did a tremendous job there, and he has a history of winning. He also was a head coach at Murray State, 1 year at Boise State, and he's done a good job of turning programs around. And I can't say enough about what he's done in a short time here at Ole Miss after not winning a conference game all of last year. They go down to Florida last week and beat the Gators.
Houston Nutt, while he was at Arkansas, was courted by some pretty big schools like Nebraska. He stayed put. But eventually the fans, some of them just wanting more and thinking that they needed more, and there was some interesting subplots going on there with the whole Mitch Mustaine situation and everything else. But I think Houston Nutt is in the right place now. I think Ole Miss will be a good fit for him. Now here's the bad part of replay. It shouldn't take this long.
After review, the ruling is the receiver had possession of the ball with a foot inbounds. The back of the ball will be placed on the 45-yard line. We'll measure to see if it's a first down.
Give Barnes now 4 catches for 58 yards. Great call by the officials looking at that replay. And again, they're using what you just saw. This is our camera work that they're taking a look at. And they see that left foot.
Yeah, right there it shows as a catch. And you mentioned 4 catches, 58 yards. That's what he had all season long coming in at 4 catches for 58 yards. He's doubled that here today.
So a nice job, even though it took a good amount of time to go ahead and get it right. And the Gamecocks will have it first down and 10. They measured it. And it is going to be first and 10 from the Ole Miss 45. So a big call right there. And the Carolina drive continues. Smelly, quick drop, fires complete near the 40. Forward progress will give Kenny McKinley a 5-yard gain.
Good to see Kenny McKinley getting involved in the offense for South Carolina. As we said, he's missed so much playing time. And he's a playmaker for South Carolina. Not that he's going to make an 80-yard catch or outrun everybody, but he catches everything that's thrown to him. He's pretty good after the catch as well. The Gamecocks have been looking for a leader on offense, and it's good to have Kenny McKinley back in there.
2nd and 5. Receiver screen. Jason Barnes has got the hot hand. He's wrestled down at the 36 by Jamarcus Sanford, who's been a busy guy today. Sanford, the senior out of Batesville, Mississippi. He was 4th in the SEC last year with over 8.5 tackles a game. That play doesn't look like much, but what it does, it gives you 4 yards and sets up a 3rd and 1.
This is the play we saw in the first half. Gamecocks got big yards out of 2 receivers out there. Mike Davis, one of them, Kenny McKinley, the other to throw blocks. The problem was there was 3 defenders out there, only 2 blockers.
Now, this has been a problem spot for this offense. 3rd down and short. 3rd and less than a yard. Davis in the eye. Smelly going to keep it himself. He'll dive forward and he should have it easily.
And that's the play the Gamecocks usually run in 3rd and short or even 4th and short, is let Smelly just take it over the center, Garrett Anderson.
So the drive will continue to go here.
First and 10.
Tell you what, this is the best
Ole Miss 34.
looking the Gamecock offense has been in a while. It's the 10th play coming up on this drive. We've seen a couple of double-digit drives for this team thus far today. They've avoided the big mistake on offense. They've made a couple of big plays, and they're moving the football well. Smelly in trouble. Backside rush and throws the interception at the 30. Lamar Brumfield. And that's the kind of ball that Chris Smelly wants to have back.
Yeah, exactly. I was just getting ready to say, as we're making the comments, the Gamecocks haven't shot themselves in the foot with the big turnover. Well, they just did it there as Chris Smelly put right between the numbers of the defender. That's an easy pick there. Obviously, he didn't see him, but that's a mistake that has haunted Chris Smelly this season. He'll look so good for so long and make the one play like that, and that cost him. Had a pretty nearly perfect first half, but the long drive goes for naught. As you take a look at it here, he steps up in the pocket, feels the pressure behind him, and there's just no way you can make that pass. There's you just got to throw that one out of bounds or maybe see what you can get on the ground. And Chris Smelly and the Gamecocks turn it over. He was looking for Jared Cook.
Yeah, he's looking for Cook, but he stared him down all the way. He's rolling out, and he's got a backside rush on him. just a bad decision all around for Chris Smelley. The Rebels will take over on the first turnover by Carolina today.
Kentucky Wildcats beat the Auburn Tigers or see the South Carolina Gamecocks. Answer is C, South Carolina. The Rebels have faced the Gamecocks a total of 13 times on the gridiron. Renaissance Bank Trivia.
Rebels first and 10, 29-yard line. Handoff, right side. Nothing doing for Cordera Eason. Marvin Sapp stacks him up.
Talking about Marvin Sapp here earlier. You see Coach Steve Spurrier there, obviously not happy with the turnover by the Gamecocks. Sapp has been a big part of this South Carolina defense. The backup linebacker to Jasper Brinkley. He's in there usually in passing situations, but also good at stuffing the run.
Second down, call it 9. Eason stays in at tailback. That's Marvin Sapp playing middle linebacker. Pass play out to McCluster. Makes one man miss. Now he's reversing field. If he gets a block, this could be a lot of trouble. 40, 50, 40, and stepped out of bounds at the 35. He stepped out of bounds at the 35-yard line, but a heck of a play by Dexter McCluster, 35 yards.
He does that all on his own. That play should have been strung out probably for a loss, and South Carolina didn't wrap up. McCluster dangerous as a receiver and a running back. You get a look at both here. Makes a nice catch. There's the missed tackle. You don't see that often. And then just outruns everybody. Even the fast defensive backs for the Gamecocks can't catch up to him. Steps out of bounds here on the sideline, but gets a nice train of blockers as he's going down the near sideline.
Now back to the bigger tailback, Eason, who is upended.
Number 25,
Akeem Auguste, and on that tackle, cutting him down.
That previous play to McCluster looks like he could set something up as well, because it may have been a lateral. It was almost looked like it was behind it. It wasn't a forward pass. That's a possibility of McCluster chucking it as well. We mentioned he can run, he can catch, and he can also throw it.
Second and 7. Snead going down the sideline, and there's a penalty flag on Carlos Thomas. Mike Wallace got tied up with Thomas. Looked like he might have just gotten beat on the play, Brad, and did what he could to keep him from going behind him.
Yeah, exactly. And that pass was actually behind him. If Thomas doesn't mess with him, it's probably going to fall incomplete anyway, but he gets his arms all wrapped up in him, and I don't think Thomas even got his head around, never saw the pass coming. Carlos Thomas will sometimes get picked on in that South Carolina secondary. He's been in and out of the lineup over the last couple of years. He's a good defender, but sometimes has his moments, and has a moment there.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalty is a first down at the spot of foul.
You take a look at it here. Here comes the throw. Receiver tries to stop, come back and get it. He had Thomas maybe beat by a step going deep. The pass was behind him. Might have said that pass was uncatchable, but he did hold him up.
And they go back to the Wild Rebel. McCluster in the shotgun. Going to take it himself up the middle. And will fall forward for a gain of about 4, maybe 3. Marvin Sapp on another tackle. McCluster is just an amazing athlete. 5'8", 165 pounds. In high school, he was the All Suncoast Player of the Year. Played a number of sports. He wasn't just a good football player. He was a great basketball player and track star as well.
He's tied for the 8th in the SEC in receiving receptions per game, almost 4 per ball game. But he said he can do so much as a running back and a receiver. He creates a lot of mismatches with the defense.
Brandon Bolden, who caught a touchdown earlier, is in the game. Snead rolling out, tries to hit the tight end in the flat, can't do it.
Eric Norwood just tattooed Jevin Snead, drove him to the turf after he tossed it away. Norwood had a sack earlier, almost had his second one.
Akeem Auguste was on the coverage. Carlos Thomas out of this game after the interference call.
Saw the pressure there by Norwood, and Snead just had to throw it away to avoid the sack.
Snead now 13 out of 17, 188 yards and 1 touchdown. Bolden at tailback, McCluster at receiver. 3rd down and 8. It's caught, and that'll be a first down for McCluster. Now the ball pops out. Carolina's bringing it back. Past midfield and all the way down to the 42-yard line. That is Emmanuel Cook. That is Emmanuel Cook on the fumble with a long return. Everybody just kind of gave up on the play. 55 yards on the return by Emmanuel Cook.
Wouldn't be surprised if we get a review here, but you're right. It looked like everybody stopped. Looked like everybody thought the play was over. And there goes Emmanuel Cook down the sideline. The Gamecocks in business if it stands.
My guess is they'll review it. There's no question the ball came out. The question is, did he catch it beforehand? If he did, it is a huge play for this Gamecock defense.
From that view there, looks like it came out early. Didn't look like he was down.
Previous play is under review.
It'll be a huge break for the Gamecocks after coughing it up themselves on the turnover and put them back almost where they started.
Get a look. They're going to take another look at it, and we will as well momentarily. Here it is.
See if we get a better angle on it here. There's the catch. Obviously has possession. Culliver with the hit. That's out. That's a fumble. That's definitely a fumble. A bunch of the Ole Miss players had stopped, it looked like, but Cook probably had the best view of it more than anybody. And I believe the Gamecocks will keep possession.
That's a textbook hit there by Culver. Got the helmet right on the football. We're talking about a guy who's a converted wide receiver. Came to Carolina to play wide receiver. Didn't work out there. He's moved over to safety. And it looks like one of the best personnel moves that they've had in the Spurrier era, because Chris Culver, when it's all said and done, is going to be a special safety. He is already turning into a fine football player. And of course, he's got a pretty good mate back there in Emmanuel Cook, who returned the fumble.
And like, of course, the Gamecocks last decade or so have a great history of terrific defensive backs, and Culliver looks like he's on his way to being another good one.
This would be the second turnover on Mississippi, the first turnover on Carolina, the only one we just saw in the Chris Smelly interception.
Well, this has been an exhausting game in terms of momentum and so many shifts we've had with all the scoring.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a first down. Play will resume following the media timeout.
So a huge play for the Gamecock defense, which came in struggling to get takeaways. They've been stopping everybody. They just haven't been forcing turnovers, but 2 big ones so far today. The Gamecocks have it, and they've got it in great field position. Barnes and McKinley at the bottom of your screen. McKinley in the slot. Davis and DeMarco comprise the backfield. Davis has got some room on the right side. Davis upended near the 30, and Mike Davis will have a first down. Kendrick Lewis cut him down, but a big pickup, 11 yards for the senior out of Columbia.
One of the longer runs on the day for the South Carolina running backs. Look at the block from the fullback, Patrick DeMarco. Comes up there, upends the defender, knocks him down. That opens up the hole for Davis, and he's not touched till he's 10 yards downfield.
It should come as no surprise that turnovers have been a huge factor in this game. Both these teams losing to Vanderbilt earlier in the year, and in both those situations, turnovers killed them. Absolutely killed them. Smelly in trouble and brought down near the 40, a loss of about 10. Alan Walker spins him like a top and brings him to the turf.
Second sack for Alan Walker this season. The pocket collapses around Smelly, and he's just unable to get rid of it. Probably got to get rid of it a lot sooner here. Take a look at it here. Tries to step up. and the protection breaks down. Nothing Smelly can do now. And it's a big loss for South Carolina.
They'll give him forward progress to the 38, so a loss of 8 on the play makes it 2nd down and 18. Empty backfield. Smelly looks for Davis in the flat, has him, 30, 25. Davis still churning those legs all the way to the 21. Not too far from the first down marker, which is at the 20.
Well, even though that was a reception, that's something Coach Steve Spurrier, of course, we talked about earlier, was looking from his running backs, the ability to make somebody miss. As a receiver here, Davis makes the first guy miss, picks up some nice yards after the catch. You take a look at it. Here comes the first guy. No, sir. Second guy able to spin away, pick up a couple extra yards.
17 yards on the play. Sets up a 3rd and 1. Could it be another quarterback sneak? Nope. Going to give it to Davis up the middle. And again, this team really struggles when handing off on short yardage. From here, it looks like he's got it. Tony Fine was on the tackle for the Rebels.
Well, we've seen South Carolina go with the quarterback sneak in the situation often. A little surprised they didn't over there with Chris Smelly up over center. There wasn't anybody over the center, Garrett Anderson. If he just goes, pushes his center up the behind a little bit, he's got at least a yard with no problem.
I noticed the same thing. Nobody over the center on that play. Ole Miss was almost saying, go ahead, take it if you want, as they provide the measurement here. Oh, that's about as close as it gets, isn't it? By maybe a half of a link.
1st and 10, South Carolina.
And Cox will take it, whether it's a, sometimes talk about the left foot, right foot. Well, that was a left big toe, right big toe.
That's right. So the ball on the 20. Gamecocks trailing it, 21-17. Jared Cook is at the bottom of your screen. Davis gets it. Davis pushed back, bounces off like a pinball, and make that Bobby Wallace before going down, and that'll be a loss on the play.
Well, there's that good pressure up front by the defensive line from Ole Miss, as there was just nowhere for him to go as Wallace takes the handoff, runs right into the back, I think, of one of his blockers, and then one of the defenders, as the Rebels busted that one up early.
Bobby Wallace staying in the game. And that's probably the difference. Bobby Wallace, he's not going to break tackles. He's the more elusive of the backs. 2nd down and 14. McKinley in the game. Smelly going left side, complete to Jason Barnes. And there is a bond formulating here between Chris Smelly and Jason Barnes. That'll be short of the first down, but those two right now are on the same page.
And this is a timing route. He's got to deliver as Barnes is into his break. There it is. He makes his break. There it is on the sideline. 2 defenders there. But Smelly hits the mark. And the Gamecocks now in the 3rd and short. Big 3rd down from South Carolina, trailing by 4.
3rd down and 4. Barnes now 6 catches, 70 yards. Career highs for the freshman. Bobby Wallace is the lone back. Crisscross action. Freeman makes the catch. That is the backup tight end, Larry Freeman. If he keeps his footing, that's a touchdown. This is a really well-designed play.
And Chris Smelly does a good job just to get this ball off. He was under pressure, had to move up. If he's not under pressure, if he's able to throw this off his back foot, or at least settling his feet, yeah, this is a touchdown. Look at here, has to throw it off balance, throws it a little high, makes a nice adjustment. It'll be 4th down, just a little bit short. Looks like South Carolina's going to go for it.
4th and inches. Smelly under center. Oh, you snap it now, you got it easy. They do. Oh, wait a minute, a timeout might have been called. Ole Miss looked confused. Smelly tried to get that thing off.
Snap. Timeout, Mississippi. First charge, timeout of the half.
So they just get it off, and that is huge. 21-17, Rebels leading. Gamecocks threatening a good one here in Oxford.
Fans, visit the College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend, Indiana for more information.
4th down and 1.
This is Steve Spurrier before the last play. He was imploring Chris Smelley to snap it. Go, go, snap it, snap it. Didn't happen before the timeout. Would have been an easy first down. Nobody was over the center again, and nobody was ready for Ole Miss.
Well, obviously a huge play coming up in this football game for both teams. Gamecocks trying to take advantage of the turnover, keep the football moving, keep the clock running as well. Don't want to settle for a field goal here. You still trail.
Remaining in the third quarter. A huge play right now on 4th down and inches. Davis, the deep back in the eye. Smelley barking out the signals. And going to take it himself on the left side, and he's got it easily. When in doubt, go with the quarterback sneak, because that's the best short yardage play this team has.
Yeah, Chris Smelley certainly has that play down. Always gets a good push from his center, Garrett Anderson, the junior from Irmo, South Carolina. More importantly, he knows how to keep low, not get himself hit up high, and able to get those short yards when the Gamecocks need it.
Goal for South Carolina.
You've got Anderson, Meredith, and King the left side of that line, and right now that's where the push is. Jason Barnes in the game, bottom of your screen. He's had the hot hand. Davis trying to pick his way through tacklers, always churning those legs and always falling forward. Just shy of the 5.
Mike Davis for South Carolina.
Dustin Malzahn, the tackle, senior out of Orlando for the Rebels.
Again, when you have trouble running the football, this is where it becomes dangerous for South Carolina, because it certainly changes your options. South Carolina, of course, would like to be able to run it in here, but they haven't been able to do anything consistently the last few ball games on the ground, especially inside the 20.
2nd down and 6. Smelly going up top. Barnes, he got it. Touchdown, Carolina. Jason Barnes with a coming out party today. His 2nd touchdown, beating Marshae Green.
Marshae Green was all over him. Thought there might have been a penalty if that ball wasn't catch. No flag. Either way, it's 6 points for the Gamecocks. And Chris Smelley does a good job of putting that football only where Barnes can catch it. As you take a look at it, let's put some air underneath it. Defender Green never turns around, and another nice catch for Barnes, making it look easy.
Green goes 5'9", Barnes 6'4". The fade worked to perfection, and the Gamecocks have recaptured the lead, 24-21. What a game here in Oxford. Well, the Gamecocks finding the offense, which has been evasive for most of this year. But all of a sudden, Carolina has found it, and found it in a big way today. Another long, successful scoring drive. 10 plays, 42 yards, 5 minutes following the turnover. And Jason Barnes, who came in with just 4 career catches, no touchdowns. He's got 2 now on the day. Mike Wallace going to return the kickoff from Ryan Suckup. And he is spun down at the 23-yard line.
Number 2, Mike Wallace.
And all of a sudden, this stadium has become quite quiet as Yvonne Banag, who's had some passport issues of all things, makes the special teams tackle.
Now it's up to the South Carolina defense to give themselves some more momentum as well, as both teams have moved the football throughout the game, but the defense has caused some turnovers late.
Well, total yards for this Ole Miss offense. The Ole Miss offense has stalled here in the second half, not to mention the turnovers. There's Brandon Bolden, who caught the touchdown pass earlier. They've got a large stable of backs. We've seen Bolden, we've seen Eason, Dexter McCluster. We haven't even mentioned Enrique Davis, who's a talented freshman that they have. So they've got a lot of guys that can run the football.
And that's what makes this team so scary, is because they have so many guys who can do things with the football, running and receiving. They're not going to get tired. They're not going to get 25 carries a game.
2nd down and 3. It's Bolden again, and he falls forward
They would have the first down to pick up a 5.
Brandon Bolden is the ball carrier.
The South Carolina defense was on its heels, especially in the first quarter. You take a look at it here, and they found Ole Miss has some room up the middle all day long. Remember, their 2 touchdown runs in the first half were right up the gut.
You know, I'm surprised they haven't run behind their All-American left tackle Michael Orr more. Most of these runs have come up the middle or to the right side, like this one right here. And he's got some room on the sideline as Brandon Bolden turns the corner and has first down yardage before Munnerlyn shoves him out of bounds. A 13-yard pickup.
I tell you what, the Rebels also getting some great downfield blocking from their wide receivers. Lionel Breaux, number 21, with a good block. Late down there, at least sustaining a block. Look at the hole here. Avoids a couple of tacklers, and there's Breaux engaged with Captain Munnerlyn, who's keeping Munnerlyn from coming up to support the run.
Bolden will stay in at tailback. Bolden fights his way for a couple of tough yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. Clifton Gathers, the sophomore out of Georgetown, on the tackle.
Now looking ahead for both these teams, it never gets any easier in the SEC. Of course, for Ole Miss, I believe they have a week off, and they get to play at Alabama. That should be a good one.
And that'll bring the third quarter to a close. Another entertaining 15 minutes. We got ourselves a white knuckler here. Might be coming down to the wire. Gamecocks back on top, 24-21 here from Oxford. And we welcome you to the fourth quarter of play. The Gamecocks on top of the Rebels, 24-21. The Rebels on the move. 2nd down and 8. It's Snead going down the sideline, and that's going to be a pass interference. Stoney Woodson got locked up on Shea Hodge and didn't let him go.
Yeah, that was an easy call there. Woodson thought was going to bump him at the line of scrimmage, but he never let go, was holding on to the jersey. And Jevin Snead looking there all the way.
54,628 the attendance for today's ball game here at Oxford on a beautiful Saturday.
Number 36, defense. Ball be placed at foul. First down.
6 penalties now on the Gamecocks' 45 yards.
Didn't see much of it there. He just gets the tail end of it, but Woodson had them locked up from the word go, and Snead eyeballed him all the way. Gets the first down via the penalty.
Jevin Snead, 6'3", 215-pound sophomore, transfer from Texas. Hands it off, and Jasper Brinkley gets him in a bear hug and brings Brandon Bolden down in a hard way.
That's the Jasper Brinkley Gamecock fans remember seeing a couple of years ago when he was an All-American. First last year he had the knee injury. You take a look at it here. So good at stuffing the run. Cubs in, there's just nowhere to go with Jasper Brinkley, weighing 275 pounds coming into the season.
Yeah, that's not your average size for a linebacker at any level of football, certainly not college football. So far he's been carrying that extra weight pretty well this year. Bolden on a draw play, forget about it. He is clobbered by Eric Norwood, who's had a big game today.
Yeah, certainly has had a sack earlier. Comes in there. The Gamecocks bring a little noise on the rush here, and it times out perfectly as that delayed draw is snuffed out very quickly. You take a look at it. There's Norwood, fights off the block, and the loss on the play.
Now, if you're Ole Miss, you're looking at 3rd down and 15. McCluster's in the game. You got to keep an eye on 22. No matter where he is, he's going to line up at receiver on the right side. He's actually stacked behind Wallace. Snead has time, steps up, fires over the middle, incomplete. Broken up on the play. Akeem Auguste, the freshman out of Hollywood, Florida, with a terrific play.
Yeah, good closing speed there by Auguste as Snead got plenty of time to throw it. He's able to read his eyes and come in. Snead did have a man wide open in the flat, but he doesn't go to him on the right of your screen. Doesn't look that way. Looking down the middle all the way, looking for the first down. And Auguste with good closing speed, able to knock it loose.
You cannot play it any better than Auguste did right there. Rob Park on the punt. Munnerlyn is back to return. He'll let this one sail, and it takes a bounce right at the 1, and Ole Miss keeps it from going in the end zone. Oh, Rob Park just had a beauty. Dustin Muzan is the guy that fields it inside the 5, and that's exactly what you want if you're Ole Miss.
Cellular South Discover Center and learn what your phone can really do. We'll show you how to use your phone to get maps, weather information, find movie schedules, and so much more. Visit any Cellular South location or go online at cellularsouth.com/Discover Center and discover your unlimitations.
Attendance 54,628. 54,628 here at Swan Hemingway Stadium.
Are you still working on total yards as well? Gamecock offense coming out onto the field. Carolina up by 3. Chris Smelley, one of the better games he has had this year, 16 of 25. He's got 2 touchdown passes, both to Jason Barnes. And how about the amount of yards we've had? Nearly 600 thus far in this game. And that's probably more surprising, Brad, for the Gamecock offense, which has obviously struggled this year.
No, exactly so. And the Gamecock defense usually doesn't give up that many yards. Number 1 in the SEC, only giving up average about 221 total yards a game. Obviously, that's going to go up. This is a tough spot for South Carolina. Obviously, deep in your own end, even though they do have a lot of yards total, they haven't run the ball consistently. This is obviously an area where you try to give yourself some room for the running game.
What has become the number 1 target for Smelley today, Jason Barnes, is at the bottom of your screen. Kenny McKinley to the left. Throw is caught by McKinley, and he's cut down past the marker. A first down for Carolina.
This kid is so reliable. Kenny McKinley, the senior out of Mableton, as we said, had the hamstring injury, and the Gamecocks have certainly missed him. First team All-SEC a year ago. Had 9 touchdowns. Just finds a way to get open, and he always holds on. Not the biggest guy, not the fastest guy. Just runs the routes, gets open, and holds on, and is able to take a hit.
And with every reception, he is one more closer to surpassing the record by Sterling Sharp for all-time receptions. 1st and 10. Run on the right side. Breaking 1 tackle is Davis. Bouncing outside and picking up a big one. First down yardage, a pickup of nearly 15.
Well, we highlighted some of the blocking by the Ole Miss wide receivers. Jason Barnes has had a good day catching the football. Gets a nice downfield block as well. Sustaining a block a little bit. He had no idea that Davis was still going to be running, but you take a look at it. Davis makes a couple of guys miss, races to the corner, and there's Barnes downfield, who is still locked up with the defensive back.
Mike Davis, solid day at the office. Remember, he missed the last game against UAB, so he's fresh. Now it's Bobby Wallace's turn, trying to turn the corner, can't do it. Play is strung out well by Jamarcus Sanford.
Gain of about a yard.
Number 42, Bobby Wallace.
Bobby Wallace just looking for a hole with the Ole Miss Rebels string it out nicely. Just took too long to develop, and Wallace had nowhere to go. Again, he's the guy that's going to try to make a guy miss, look for a hole, not going to bust through a bunch of tackles. Nothing there.
Bobby Wallace's career high in carries is 7. He's done that twice, but it's been a while since he's had that many, and he's in the game now, lined up at receiver. Second and long. Receiver screen caught by Brown. Brown racing forward 40 and cut down at midfield by Sanford again. Good looking play. They've been trying to do these bubble screens and receiver screens all year, Brad, but for some reason today against Ole Miss they're working a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons you have Kenny McKinley in the ballgame throwing a block for you. Again, he's a do-it-all guy here. You're right. The Gamecocks like to run this play. You see the block there by McKinley, another block up front. I believe that was Bobby Wallace, the running back, and clears a little room for him here.
It's a great job by Bobby Wallace, who's only 5'7", but he's about 200 pounds. Mo Brown now 3 catches, 67 yards. Jared Cook catching that ball over the middle, a pickup of 5.
Jared Cook had the big catch in the first half that went for over 50 yards, one of the longest pass plays, or the longest pass play of the year for South Carolina. Been a little quiet since then. Chris Smelly did a nice job to get rid of that ball in a hurry.
Second down, 2 yards to go. Gamecocks methodically moving the ball downfield. We're nearing the 10-minute mark of this game. And a timeout called. That'll be the first timeout of the second half. And it'll be charged to South Carolina with 10:24 remaining. Gamecocks up 3 and on the move, trying to pull off the upset here in Oxford. Gamecocks with a second down and 2. Mike Davis in the eye, gets it, big hole up the middle, spin move, and brought down at the 30-yard line by Sanford, who's racking up a high tackle total, but a gain of 12 for Mike Davis.
Well, we called out this offensive line early in the ball game as, again, they had struggled with the running game. They must have heard us because they opened up a nice hole, and they've done a nice job on this drive. Remember, this started deep in their own end, right around the 5-yard line, and they've been able to find some holes here as of late.
And you got to like the balance. They've been running the ball, throwing the ball well. A lot of different personnel getting involved. Smelly out of the shotgun. Looking deep. He's got McKinley. What a catch by Kenny McKinley, reaching back in traffic between 2 blue jerseys, and he is inside the 5.
Have I mentioned they've missed Kenny McKinley? What a play. You said it. He had to reach back for that one. Smelly does a good job of throwing that ball before McKinley even makes his cut here. It's the only place he can put it. It's his second option, it looks like. Looks left, looks right, and McKinley comes back and gets it, able to hold on as the Rebels trying to strip it away.
This is not easy to do. Look at that. He's falling down, reaching back. He knows he's going to take the hit. What a play by Kenny McKinley. First and goal from the 3. Davis wrapped up. That's going to be a loss. Lamar Brumfield, the junior out of Linwood, California, with the tackle.
This is where it gets a little bit tougher in your play selection. You've only got 5 yards to work with. Obviously, can't do much in the passing game as far as running a lot of different patterns. Gamecocks were running the ball pretty well. Now it gets a little tougher the closer you get in.
Davis will stay in the game at tailback. McKinley and Mo Brown are the receivers. They're working the far side. Smelly settles in, fires, incomplete. That play looked a little bit off. They might have been trying Mo Brown on a crossing route, but it was a very dangerous pass.
Yeah, McKinley and Brown crossed. I don't know if McKinley was actually trying to set a pick for Mo Brown to allow him to get around to the top of the screen over the far side of the field. Obviously, it didn't work out. Big third down for South Carolina, and Ole Miss defensively, they'd like to hold them to a field goal. That way, the Rebels will still have a chance to take the lead on the next possession.
Huge play right here. Third and goal from the 4. Brown and McKinley, top of your screen. Joe Hills at the bottom. Smelly looks right. He's running in trouble, throws to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Joe Hills. Joe Hills with his first career touchdown. And the Gamecocks extend the lead.
Well, give credit to Chris Smelly not giving up on the play. Again, not the most fleet of foot, but he's able to buy himself a little time. Rolling out to his right, the Rebels looked like they only rushed 3 initially, but they were about to get to him. And Smelly showed some patience, able to fire it in there for 6.
Has Chris Smelly ever played a better game in a Gamecock uniform? I don't think so. He has been terrific today with the exception of 1 mistake. 2 grabs by the freshman Barnes. And here's the first career touchdown reception for Joe Hills. Gamecocks now up 10 as Ryan Suckup kicks it off. Back to return. Mike Wallace going to take it out of the end zone. He's got a wedge on the left side. That's where he's going. And he falls down to the 25-yard line.
Mike Wallace on the return for the Rebels to the 25.
A 25-yard return. We look at that drive summary, and it is impressive. 11 plays, 95 yards, 4 minutes, 39 seconds off the clock, culminated by the Hills 4-yard touchdown reception, the first one for that young man out of Palmetto, Florida. But that might be the drive of the year for this offense, Brad.
Exactly. Chris Smelly with 3 touchdown passes, I believe matches a career high. Had 3 in the game at North Carolina last season.
Snead working out of the gun. And we might see Ole Miss throwing quite a bit the rest of the way, trying to hit McCluster there. McCluster going in, Snead throwing out, incomplete.
First 300-yard game for Chris Smelly. There's the 3 touchdowns. Yeah, on that last play, McCluster was open on the play, but you get good pressure from Eric Norwood, and Jevin Snead threw a little behind his receiver.
That is career numbers on a career day. Sometimes stats don't tell the whole story. Chris Smelly, this to me is without question the best game he has had in a Gamecock uniform. Rebels trying to get back into this one. Snead in trouble, improvising. 30. And he is smothered by Marvin Sapp there. Marvin Sapp, the senior out of Jacksonville, Florida, second cousin of Warren Sapp. He's been mostly a backup in his career. He's never been quite good enough to stay in the starting lineup, but bottom line is the guy does make tackles when he's out there.
He certainly has. As we said earlier, Sapp tied for 3rd on the team in tackles coming in. As you look at Smelly again, and he knows he's still got some work to do. The Gamecocks with the lead, hoping his defense can help him out here with under 8 minutes to play.
I mean, it's got to feel doubly good for Smelly. The talk for weeks on end now has been about Stephen Garcia, and that only escalated last week, but right now Chris Smelly has recaptured this offense as Marvin Sapp reading another play and providing another tackle.
Snead shuttle pass complete to number 34.
It's got to be close. If it's short, be interesting to see what Ole Miss dials up here.
I think it's short by about a yard.
Yep.
4th and 1. Clock ticking away. I think Houston Nutt's going to go for it.
Yeah, I think so too. The way South Carolina has moved the ball the second half, maybe he thinks he might not get it back.
Massive substitutions for Carolina. 4th down and a yard. They need the 35. Bolden is the back. He's to the left of Jevin Snead, the quarterback. Snead's looking to throw. And the quick slant, they get it. The coverage wasn't bad, but McCluster, a hard guy to cover. He's so small and slippery. Just throw it low, and the 5'8", 165-pounder hauls it in.
Well, you've got to put the ball in the best player on the field's hands, and that's Dexter McCluster. 2 men on him. He's still able to get it. And a good pass there by Jevin Snead to pick up the 1st down.
Stoney Woodson was on the coverage. 1st down and 10 for Rebels. Snead completes it. 40, broken tackle, and pushed out of bounds at the 49 is Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace has been busy, as we said, 3rd leading receiver coming in, both in receptions and yardage, but he's been busy as well. Made the first man miss and picks up another 1st down. Take a look at it here. Snead's getting some time. The Gamecocks come on a stunt. Gets away from Captain Munderland. Don't see that too often. Munderland pretty good in coverage, pretty good tackler. Couldn't bring him down there.
Remember that the new rules, the clock is still ticking even though he did go out of bounds. It won't stop in those situations again until we're under 2 minutes to go as Lionel Bro makes the grab there. Ole Miss pretty much going away from the running game here on out.
Gamecocks almost looked like they were in a little bit of a prevent there as Carlos Thomas was a good 15 yards away from Lionel Bro.
What a day for Emmanuel Cook. 13 more tackles for the strong safety.
Leading tackler for the Gamecocks. Supports the run so well.
Snead looking deep, and that would have been 6. Shea Hodge, who had the huge game against Florida a week ago, had a step on Woodson. I was surprised Snead didn't put more air under this ball.
Yeah, they've got one-on-one coverage. It's what they want. Look downfield, looks left, looks right, got a step, just got a hand on it, maybe did. I believe it was Darian Stewart. But Ole Miss got what they wanted. They had one-on-one coverage going down the far sideline.
You lob that ball up, and there's not a whole lot Stewart can do to stop it as Hodge had him beat. 3rd and 3. We'll draw play, and that should be enough for the first down. Brandon Bolden on the carry. Bolden had 55 yards rushing in that win over Florida. That win over the Gators, by the way, in the Swamp. That's the first time Ole Miss has won a game away from home against a top 5 team since 1977 when they beat Notre Dame in Jackson. This is why they warn people, beware of the letdown week. There's a wide open receiver at the 20 and a huge hit by Auguste. My goodness, he absolutely laid the wood to Lionel Bro. We've seen some receivers take some pops and hold on to the football here today.
Well, the Gamecocks celebrating the big hit, and they're wondering if it was actually caught or not.
Well, now they might be saying incomplete. They're ruling it incomplete. Fans booing. They thought he held on to it long enough. The ruling on the field's incomplete. We'll take another look in a sec, but first, 2nd down and 10. And the throw is complete for the first down. That is Shea Hodge. Take a listen to the hit by Akeem Auguste. A huge hit by the freshman, jarring the ball loose, but the Rebels still have it. 1st and 10. Snead buying time. Snead has the ball deflected from behind. It's incomplete. Snead got real cozy in that pocket.
Oh, the Gamecocks getting some pressure, but not able to get to Snead. He does a good job of stepping up and stepping around. Cliff Matthews in there as well. Gamecocks were a little late getting some defenders on in that play. But Snead able to buy some time, couldn't find anybody open. Look at it here. There's the pressure. Can't get to him, and then just at the last minute, and knock it loose.
That's Jordan Lindsay knocking it away at the last second. Snead now 19 of 28, 235 yards. On 2nd down, receiver screen. He's looking to throw it. Nobody's open. He's got to run now. Gets a block on the outside by Snead, and all that does is get him back to the line of scrimmage. But that play well defended by the Gamecocks secondary.
It certainly was. Houston not doing a great job of calling some plays. They saw the Rebels get a touchdown on a delay earlier. You take a look at it here. It's one-on-one coverage passing here. You knew right away this was going to be a pass. It was set up. Doesn't sell it really well. Man coverage down the field and nowhere to go with it.
So with 4.5 minutes left to play in the ball game, the Gamecocks up by 10, 31-21 our score. I said somebody just asked me about that. I can't tell from here.
Rebels, 3rd and 11.
Critical 3rd down and 11. You'd have to say 4 down territory, or would you? I mean, you need 2 scores anyway. You've got a pretty good kicker in Joshua Sheen, who has hit along a 47 this year, so you don't have to necessarily go for it if you're Ole Miss if you miss it on this particular play. 3rd and 11. Snead all kinds of somehow gets out of it. Pass complete at the 25 and down to the 20. That's Lionel Bro. And now if you're Houston Nutt, you've got a very difficult decision to make.
Yeah, I think you got to kick the 3 here. It's a 2-possession game. Nice pickup, though. It makes it a little bit easier for your place kicker, Joshua Sheen. And that's what they're going to do.
So Sheen, as I mentioned, a long of 47 on the year. And this is a 38-yarder. He's 6 of 7 on the season. Snap and the hold are good. The kick is on the way. Perfect. And it's a 1-possession game with 3:48 to play. 31-24, our score. The Gamecocks in the lead.
31. The Ole Miss Rebels, 24.
3 minutes 48 seconds left to go in this ball game. Mike Morgan, Brad Muller with you here from Oxford, Mississippi. A beautiful day and a beautiful game in so many ways, particularly if you're a Gamecock fan. The offense, which has been struggling for most of the year, has put together their best 4-quarter performance of the season. 31 points. This team has shown the ability to come back today. And also, Brad, a career day by Chris Smelley, not to mention by so many of the new starters for this Gamecock team.
It looks like they've gotten a lot of leadership out of their wide receivers today. They've had a lot of different guys step up. They've actually made a couple of big plays. You mentioned the long drives. The last drive was 95 yards for South Carolina. Now they need to get at least their 1st down here. I believe 1 timeout remaining for Ole Miss. The Gamecocks need to move the sticks at least once and hopefully salt this game away for Gamecock fans. But Ole Miss has looked good on that last drive. They're able to get the 3 points. They've moved the ball well today as well.
The drive for Ole Miss, 14 plays, 55 yards, 4 minutes, 43 seconds off the clock. And Sheen, the junior out of Oklahoma City, hits the 37-yard field goal to make it a 1-possession game. 3 minutes, 48 seconds left on the clock. And if you're Ole Miss, you still have a couple of timeouts in your back pocket. So if you get a defensive stop, things can get very interesting here. Justin Sparks will kick it off for the Rebels. No onside kick. He's going deep. Culver is going to let it bounce out of bounds, and that's a huge penalty right there. It'll be great field position for Carolina.
A big mistake there. Obviously, you don't want to give up the big return, but you got to keep it in play. That's a break for the Gamecocks.
So the ball will be spotted.
On the kicking team, the ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. 1st down.
The ball will be spotted at the 40-yard line. It used to be the 35. They changed that rule a couple of years ago. So now you get it all the way at your own 40.
Now, if for South Carolina, you want 2 hands on the football, try to move the sticks at least once. Again, Ole Miss with just 1 timeout remaining.
Smelly, Davis, McKinley, all the veterans in there now. And we'll see if Carolina can move the chains here. Ole Miss, time is a factor with 3:48 to play. Hand off to Davis, right side. He goes nowhere.
On the carry,
Ashley Palmer on the tackle.
South Carolina, Mike Davis. On the tackle,
A little tougher here for South Carolina,
Ashley Palmer,
obviously, because
number 92,
you know you're going to
Marcus
run the
Tillman.
football. You get a little conservative with how you run. 2 hands on the football, or at least you'd like to think that for South Carolina. Ole Miss playing run all the way.
There's Tyrone Nix, the former Gamecock defensive coordinator, now with the Rebels. And the Gamecock offense has picked his defense apart for most of the day. Smelly showing pass, working out of the gun, fires toward the corner. Cook on the catch at the Ole Miss 45, and that will give the Gamecocks another set of downs.
Stops the clock, but what a gutsy call by Coach Steve Spurrier. Jared Cook goes up and gets it. Take a look at it. Smelly's got good time here. They come late on the blitz. They rush 5. Smelly able to get it up to the big man. Cook keeps a foot in bounds, and the Gamecocks move the sticks once again.
And keep in mind, it only stops the clock temporarily. The new rules in college football, so now you can milk some more clock. You've got 8 on the play clock. Smelly sees that, takes his time. Now the snap. Davis on the carry. Davis spins his way into a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. Marche Green will get credit for the tackle as we near the 2-minute mark of this football game. Again, the Gamecocks have lost 5 consecutive to the Ole Miss Rebels. Haven't won here in Oxford since the 70s. But a chance to turn that whole thing around and perhaps turn this season around.
And more importantly, South Carolina looking for its first SEC win since last year. They've lost 6 straight SEC games, 0-2, coming in with the losses to Vanderbilt and Georgia. Remember, they had that slide at the end of last year.
DeMarco and Davis in the backfield on 2nd down. It's Davis. Davis picking his way through tacklers. He's shy by about a yard of the first down marker. Palmer another tackle. Now that is the offensive line coach, John Hunt, and he has been under a ton of heat, really, for a number of years now. But you got to give his offensive line credit, Brad. They have pushed guys around. They have given Smelly time to throw. The offensive line has had a heck of a game for this Carolina team. 1:48 remaining. Gamecocks up by a touchdown. Critical 3rd down and 1 here. Davis, the deep back, tight formation. Smelly trying to take it himself. Second effort might have gotten it. He got stacked up behind the right side of that line. Was kind of stuck in neutral there, and then on the second effort falling forward, and that might be the difference.
I guess see where they give him the spot. Needed to get right at the 35. This may be decided by a chain link. Take a look at it. Smelly has had success running up the gut, but they get a good push by the Ole Miss defensive line, able to fall forward there. Looked like the ball was a little bit further across the 35. They pulled it back closer to the 36.
Boy, is it going to be any closer than this? Wow.
4th and 1.
Well, what do you do here?
Well, they didn't get it there. Do you run the same play?
Yeah, I mean, a field goal puts it away, but you always run the risk of a block.
Yeah,
a punt does you no good.
That's a very long field goal at this point. You do have a good kicker, Ryan Suckup. I think you go for it here.
Fourth down and less than a yard. Smelly will hand it off to Davis, and I don't know. This looked just like the play that Ole Miss had against Tim Tebow in Florida. On 4th and short, it looks like they got it done again.
Yeah, that one I think he may have lost a little yardage. He needed to get across, looked like just across the 35. He didn't get it. Again, the defensive line for Ole Miss gets the push 2 plays in a row.
Well, if the marker hasn't changed, this is going to be Ole Miss football, where they have it spotted. And there you have it. Ole Miss is still alive. 1:21 remaining. The Rebels have no timeouts left. They need a touchdown, which would be 65 yards.
Bring out the cliches about a game of inches. It certainly was in those last 2 plays.
McCluster is in the game at receiver.
We've had an interesting one today. Mississippi looked unstoppable on their first couple of drives, 14-3 after one quarter. Then the Gamecocks responding. 2 touchdowns in the second quarter, including a defensive score by Nathan Pepper. Ole Miss having the lead at the half. But in this second half, the Gamecock offense outplaying Ole Miss. 2 touchdowns. And the Gamecock defense has stiffened, holding the Rebels offense to just 3 points in this game. So we've got 1:21 on the clock. The Rebels will need 65 yards. These yards have been tough to come by here lately, Brad. The wild Rebel formation, we haven't seen a whole lot of that lately. Jevin Sneed has been kind of hot and cold here in the second half of play, so this will be a very interesting drive for both sides.
Exactly. Jevin Sneed and the Ole Miss Rebels do have some big play makers with Dexter McCluster and Shea Hodge. I think they're reviewing here. I believe South Carolina took a time out to review the spot on that last play, and I guess you have to. And that's why there's the delay in the game right now.
And why not? I mean, the timeout's not going to hurt you. They want the time to run out.
And it'll be interesting to see how South Carolina plays it defensively. As you said, they played well in this half, but you don't want to give up on the prevent defense and let them score right away.
So the replay going on now. We're going to get the official word here in just a moment.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. South Carolina is charged with their second team timeout.
Again, not much of a penalty there. Really nothing to lose. The Rebels, in terms of timeouts, more importantly, they have none left. And so they're going to have to move the ball here in not only efficiently, but also quickly. Now, keep in mind also under the new rules, in the final 2 minutes of the ball game, they will stop the clock on every out of bounds play, so they can use that as their ally. 1:21 to go, and the Gamecocks up by 7 points. First and 10 as Sneed leads the troops to the line. Sneed under pressure, throws high, and incomplete. Eason was over there in the flat, but Munnerlyn in coverage.
It's good pressure from Jordan Lindsay of the Gamecocks, and looked like it may have been held a little bit, got pushed from behind, and he one that forces Sneed to throw that one away.
Shea Hodge, awfully dangerous. He is at the top. Mike Wallace also in the game. 4-wide formation. Sneed has time, fires toward the corner. It's picked off by Carlos Thomas, and that'll do it. Carlos Thomas with his 6th career interception, and the Gamecocks are going to pull off a victory in Oxford for the first time since the 1970s.
Second interception of the season for Carlos Thomas. Read it well, and Jevin Sneed never really looks him off. Drops back, he's eyeballing the receiver all the way, puts a little too much air underneath it. Thomas gets a great jump on it. It's an easy pick. And South Carolina is about a minute away from getting their first SEC win in exactly a year. Last SEC win was against Kentucky 1 year ago today.
1974 was the last time a Gamecock team came here and won. The Rebels had won 5 in a row in the series. Carlos Thomas, sometimes he's the hero, sometimes he's the GOAT, but he's got the play that'll end this game and give the Gamecocks a much-needed SEC victory, as Carolina now will just take a couple of knees. The Rebels can't do anything about it. There it is. Last Gamecock win in Oxford back in October of 1974.
Mike, this just lives right up to the series now. Going into this game, 10 of the last 11 games between these two teams were decided by a touchdown or less, and it's at a touchdown right now.
Victory formation. Smelly takes the knee, and that should be the final play of the game. Carolina has come to Oxford And we'll go away with a victory in hand. A big one at that. Will this be the one that turns this offense around and maybe gives that man a memorable season for the Gamecocks? 31-24 your final score. And we'll be back from Oxford in just a moment.
Final score, the South Carolina Gamecocks 31, the Ole Miss Rebels 24. Tell us up broadcast.